A name that has walked hand in hand with foreign success in StarCraft 2 now goes up against a player that has kept him down in WCS 2017. ShoWTimE is going to go up against Kelazhur here, looking for revenge from what happened in Jönköping. Kelazhur was able to beat him twice there and keep him out of the top brackets, keep him from advancing on to gain more points in the WCS system. And because of that, he now has to win it all here in Montreal. I'm joined by Jeff as well as Kevin here to start things off. And gentlemen, ShoWTimE has it all to play for here in this bracket.
Take it away, Kevin.
Yes, absolutely, James. You could almost say that maybe losing twice against Kelazhur was the beginning of the slump that he was in, right? Because that was obviously a big surprise. But since that day, you know, he just didn't have the runs that we expected him to have. But he's been looking really good, not only right now in this tournament, but also in Challenger, the lead up to Montreal.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe, I mean, I know that we keep saying, like, this player pretty much has to win it. Yeah, they all have to win it if you're not in the top 8.
Yeah.
But with ShoWTimE, it is a realistic story. It is possible. He's obviously not like a given, because it's always hard to win a tournament.
Yep.
But I absolutely believe, and it's going to have to start here against a very, very strong Terran in the foreign scene, though.
I mean, he's been a WCS champion before as ShoWTimE, Jeff.
Yep, he's got the pedigree. He's got the form right now. He's playing very, very well. And yet there's still this this little whispering of caution in the back of my mind that it is always Kelazhur that seems to be constantly kind of counted out. He's just, in his interviews, they're like, you know, Diego, how do you feel? And he's just like, I'm just here to play StarCraft. He's like kind of like a sleepy guy. It's like, traveled all the way over here, might as well do it. You know, it's like, whereas when they talk to, you know, ShoWTimE's big, broad chest, like, how do you feel? He's like, it's good. Wound great territory for games. You know, like it's like the common pairing of one epic and one kind of sleepy.
Yeah.
But that Kelazhur, man, like Kevin said, the beginning of the slump. I remember we were talking about it. We were like, ShoWTimE's got a group with all Terrans, I think it was. And it was Kelazhur that was just like, no, get out.
Well, of course, a big shout out to our sponsor that is along with us for the ride here, for the journey for WCS. It is Asus. Thank you to them for supporting us throughout all of this. And let's focus back now on to, you know, we've talked a lot about ShoWTimE, but there is Kelazhur on the other side, of course, who for the longest time here in WCS 2017, Roddy, has been so stable and so consistent. A real good, like, story to see here in the WCS 2017.
Yep, I think we all remember Austin, where we all think like, oh, that's awesome. Kelazhur finally has a really good run, and we can see how much it meant to him. He really did show a lot of emotion after the games. I know, Jeff, before the games, you won't get that much out of him. But Kelazhur is somebody who gets really pumped up if he wins a big series. But we thought like, oh, that's cool, but he's probably not going to be able to do it too many times. But that's absolutely not the case. He's probably been the most consistent Terran together with Special this year in the foreign scene. I don't think anybody could argue that. And it's also the games that just make it very fun. Kelazhur is an explosive Terran. He likes to be hyper-aggressive, but he has also learned to dial it back a tiny bit if he really feels like, hey, I am ahead right now. Let's not throw it away. Let's not run into this brick wall that is my opponent's defense. Let's just take the map. He has really evolved a lot as a player, and I think you can definitely give some of that to the time that he spent in Korea, spending at the base trade to V House, practicing a lot there, and he has really grown.
Well, I'll get more of your thoughts in a moment, Jeff, as we are ready to greet these two players to the stage to start things off. So Mal, yet another, although the last round of 16 match to go, my friend.
It is, and one last Terran remaining. It actually hurts as a Terran player. But first, to my right, we have the German Macro King, an absolute force, formal champion. I don't think I need to say any more. And on the other side, we got probably inarguably the strongest, the most persistent and consistent StarCraft 2 player Brazil has ever produced. Ladies and gents, it's time for Brazil versus Germany, Germany versus Brazil. Let's welcome ShoWTimE and Kelazhur.
Your handshake is weak. Your will and resolve shall crumble.
You sound like Littlefinger.
What? He's got a giant finger, man.
Oh, okay, okay. That's how we play StarCraft.
And look at Kelazhur. He's got like his grandma's cardigan on. He's just scooting in there like, man, let's get our setup here. Just gonna sit down and play against that man, who in the blue looks a bit like a devil. I could see a little bit of a devil in him, right?
Yeah.
You said everybody looked bad in the blue shot, but I think ShoWTimE still looks pretty bad.
That picture right there, you see that?
It's still ShoWTimE.
It was
You're
good.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
I know what's going on.
If anybody can rock the
That's
blue right there, Jeff, it has to be ShoWTimE.
true.
Brazil versus Germany, what a classic. Good,
There's,
it's not a...
there's soccer jokes to be made.
Yeah,
Is that football?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm English and
I'm
I just
sorry,
don't
Kev.
know.
I mean, it's not a best of 13, so we can never go there. It's going to be a best of 5, so that's good.
Is that how that goes?
Does that still sting?
Yeah, no,
If
that's...
you say it to a German, does it still
For Germans, it's still a glorious day, and for Brazilians, it's still kind of a sad
get
day.
them a little bit?
Yeah, it definitely gets them.
Kelazhur is one of the, not only one of the most consistent foreigners for the WCS circuit, but he's also one of the only guys to actually do well for the foreign scene over in GSL versus the world, correct? You guys were there.
Yeah.
You witnessed Kelazhur.
I mean, now you accidentally made a soccer joke. Yes, the score was 7-1, and the only one that won was the Brazilian, James. Well done. It was completely by accident, but you got it done. No, that was an amazing game, but it was also kind of a funny game, because there you could see that Kelazhur is obviously good enough to get himself in a good position against someone like TY.
Yeah.
But he was so far ahead in that game, and he struggled so much to win it, that in one way that was also a great game of TY, because
It's the most impressive loss.
Yes, I know. It was insane. But you're right, he looked good, and even again, I think his game, like in game 3 against Major in GSL vs World was, the first 2 were ugly. The game 3 was all right. But I mean, he has had great runs over the year. That's all that matters. This is going to be one hell of a series. This is definitely not an easy round of 16 matchup for ShoWTimE. It could have been better.
We've had some blown out 3-0s. I don't see this one being one of them, even though I would say on paper ShoWTimE is the heavy favorite. They've got that history. Yeah. And Kelazhur just has that kind of surprising, like I said, it's almost every time he's matched up with someone, we're always like, yeah, Kelazhur's good. He's been, what a surprise this year, but never talking about him as the favorite. You never do. You never do. And in this one, it's the same. And that gets a little bit scary. I mean, even the fans voting there. I don't disagree with them. 72 for ShoWTimE, 20 for Kelazhur. But be aware of the fact that Kelazhur is here to ruin dreams. He did it before.
And I think the one thing that Kelazhur really has going for himself when it comes to playstyles is that he is that wild card that is absolutely not afraid to proxy, whether it's like one base fast expand, then proxy, or just straight up proxies. But he's really good at executing that, but at the same time, he can do the complete opposite. He can open up with 3 CCs. So Kelazhur is really one of those players where you just never sit comfortable as a Protoss, because you know you have to scout for proxies. At the same time, you have to make sure he doesn't cut too many corners on the other side of the map. It's not a pleasant opponent to go against. Then again, ShoWTimE does have all the experience, and he is a champion.
And he's the defender.
Yes.
It's stylistically, again, it's like, of the kinds of Terrans that ShoWTimE would want to face, it would be a hyper-aggressive one, because ShoWTimE is known for his defense.
And of course, you will be covering Hass's game there, going up against, who is he going up against? Snoot?
Snoot, it is correct. The score is currently 1-0 in favor of Snoot.
Okay.
It's almost sad that we jumped in a little bit too late, because the first game, things were looking all right for Haas. Haas opened up with a cannon rush, as we expected, was pretty successful. Then he got up to 20 oracles. That went pretty good. Then he had 6 bases, and he was building 6 carriers at once. But right when he had 6 carriers in production, 20 oracles got fungled at once. All of them died, and then Snoot just straight up won the game. If that would have happened, just get some 20 seconds, 30 seconds extra for the carrier count to go up, there's actually a chance that Haas could have taken a 1-0 lead in that series.
All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll check in with you down the line here in this series as we now head over to our commentary team for our last round of 8. ShoWTimE goes up against Kelazhur here at WCS Montreal.
Well met, Montreal, and welcome to our last round of 8 match. It's going to be Kelazhur facing off against ShoWTimE. Some good Terran versus Protoss action. We've seen a lot of Zerg today so far, Todd, but now we get to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, and find out which race is better between Terran and Protoss. I mean, why not?
Because every single series determines every stat of balance.
Exactly.
Welcome to Mech Depot, spawning in the bottom left position as the blue Protoss player. Give it up for ShoWTimE. His awesome Canadian crowd's been cheering loud and proud for their boys in this tournament so far. In the top right position, we have the red Terran player. Give a big cheer for Kelazhur.
Not too many players managed to win 2 series in a row against ShoWTimE, but that was Kelazhur back in Jönköping, who back then actually prevented ShoWTimE from having a big run, and securing himself the global finals. He might have been able to do it without that. But now ShoWTimE is here for revenge. The one thing that he talked to me about that he's going to try to do better than last time is making sure that those counter Medivac drops when he leaves his base, he's more ready for them. Because before, he just kept on getting surprised by the amount of medivacs that were out there available and ready to drop. And then when Terran can do that and drop inside of your main base as you're moving out, it's always going to be a disastrous situation where if you go home, it's going to take a long time for you to get there and defend. And if you go across the map, then you're starting a base trade where the Terran has a head start.
Another thing that's important to keep in mind as we move through this series and these maps in this pool, as this probe, no, that's not supposed to happen. Okay, I got a little nervous. But another big thing to keep in mind is that a lot of these maps are going to favor that drop play, that hyper-aggressive style that Kelazhur is going to want to throw out versus Protoss. You're not going to see that mix-up like we've had in the last while where it's like, oh, the Terrans are playing mech versus Zerg. It's like, no, it's not going to happen here. It's going to be your straight-up standard bread and butter, Marine Marauder, Liberator, doing the most of your damage. But solid probe arrest out of ShoWTimE. Not something I get to say a lot, but he's gotten 2 of these bad boys pretty weak.
A little bit Puck-esque in his probe harassment, really making the most of it. I think it's very good for ShoWTimE that he already has kind of drawn a picture of what's going to happen, with these medivacs
your face
dropping inside of his base. And Kelazhur usually makes Liberators back at home, as you mentioned, to basically keep his ramp safe. And in some sort of base trade, he would be getting much better trades. So ShoWTimE has kind of already pictured all that. And he's definitely, I think, come up with some sort of plan to prevent that. Maybe with some extra observers to scout for those medivacs, or just more tags with the Oracle as well, if he's to open with Stargate, which is kind of the standard in the matchup a lot of the time, and we're already seeing him here at the Stargate in Game 1.
It's one of the most important things you can do as a Protoss against Terran. The Oracle, naturally we know about its ability to kill workers. I think everyone knows about that, but the Revelation opportunity is always huge, being able to keep track of that army. We do have that starport being built way up northwest, so since he's not proxied to factory with it, I do get the vibe that maybe the mine's a bit more defensive with the Marines, and it's a fast Liberator for some sort of harass. Getting the mine to a medevac that far out doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. It's funny because you would think that sometimes Cloak Banshee could be good, but almost every time I've seen something like that, it's failed horribly just because these Protosses are so good at tagging them with the Oracles, making the right amount of Oracles and Phoenixes, and defending properly.
It's a huge gamble. It's a huge gamble versus Protoss, because if they don't open with the robotics facility, you're like, well, you can only use Revelation once per Oracle, basically, and then you have to wait a good while, and that's enough time for the Banshee to kill all your probes. But if they find it, then you're done. You're dead. So it is going to be a proxy Liberator. He has the mines back home with the Marines. He's spreading out a little bit, trying to take a bit of map control. The Reaper will die to these Adepts, and I guess we're just going to have to see what the Oracle does across the map. There is an Oracle in production. The probe is there, potentially threatening. Maybe he's wanting to get a little debated action going on.
The flag cries so far. Oh my god, the Oracle! Ooh, he turned towards the top here. I got worried for a second. Kelazhur really fishing for that kill here if he could get it, but ShoWTimE actually... Oh my god, I didn't even see that one! Kelazhur getting a very important snipe here on that first Oracle that flew across the map.
That's a big catch. This probe that's building the third base might have caught a glimpse of that Liberator as it's
There's no Phoenix yet. This is so early of a Liberator. There is no Phoenix yet. Kelazhur is going to start to prevent mining from that second base here of ShoWTimE.
And he's able to cut the mineral line in half for a little bit, force those probes to move away. He's got another one moving towards the northwest. He's looking for the proxy. It is floating back home. Liberator Siegers up one more. It gets 2 probes for his trouble. And of course, the Phoenix takes a little while to kill him, so he's going to try to snag one more, maybe inside of the main base if possible.
Yeah, a little while.
Probe.
How about 2 years, man?
I mean, they're armored, Todd. It's okay. We don't have to get into this now.
Another Widow Mine will find its way across the map here, maybe force a Revelation. ShoWTimE still trying to get the proper defense here against this. Oh my god, actually, a little bit sloppy there.
He eats that with the Phoenix. Bold move, Cotton, but nonetheless, the follow-up will be the Forge with the Twilight Council, so perhaps moving into that Phoenix Depth style. That'll give him, of course, that air control with the Phoenix. We talk about there's a huge amount of space in your main. There's a lot of different angles that the drops can come from. You have to be ever vigilant as a Protoss defending against that airplay on this map. And I like this. Kelazhur just like, all right, I know you don't have an observers, so the only thing you can do is use your Oracle energy to deal with these. I will just throw Widow Mines everywhere. Not a bad move.
Yeah, he's making ShoWTimE's game miserable right now, not being able to transfer units from one base to another. Another probe's going to get blown up there. And TVP, when there is a Stargate involved, I feel is very momentum-based. If the Stargate player gets far ahead, then usually he gets a very easy third, wins the game. And the same goes for Terran. Kelazhur has been able to find some damage here and there, so I quite like his position here right now in this game. Walker count is just a few behind. He's going to have some great production from there. And then as soon as he starts having a couple medivacs on the map, if he wants to be aggressive, which usually you want to as Terran, he might be able to find some damage to really propel himself even further ahead.
Resonating Glaives is on the way. The Phoenix count continues to rise, but you do make a very good point. If the bulk of your army as a Terran player gets pushed back and swatted away by those
Oh, this wasn't spotted.
you can get caught pretty badly. ShoWTimE's Phoenix, yeah, just missed this army. It's a bit of a move out without a crazy amount of support here. It's just throwing Marines at him. He's going for this combat shield push onto the third base. Missile turret finishes just in time to defend the natural, loses 5 SCVs, could grab a few of these units inside of the main base. But I think at this point, you got to ask, as a Protoss player, like, where's the meat? Where's the army? What's going on?
And it's in front of his base right now. As you said, combat shield already finished. Team Pack's about to finish. We've got +1 on the way as well. Only one single pylon is up on that base and just a few adepts. These Marines are going to get right in there. And with Team Pack about to finish, this is going to be a very strong push.
Yep, he just has that pylon overcharging. He's got another one under construction, but the north side of the Nexus is vulnerable, and Kelazhur will more than happily park his army here, knock this base down. There's that stem. The probes actually get eaten alongside the north side of that base, so third base is destroyed as the third command center finishes up for Kelazhur. A phenomenal push, catching him off guard while all of the Phoenix were across the side of the map.
Yeah, that army is just massive. It completely caught ShoWTimE off guard. He still has some overcharge to work with.
He's just gonna go. He's gonna dive right on top of it. Focuses down the pylon. There's nothing else to overcharge in this base. And GG is called. Kelazhur snapping up that game number 1. Very nice play out of our Terran player there, Todd. Get my bias in today.
Like I said, very momentum-based in TVP.
Yeah.
If you can blow up that first Oracle, usually you've done something right, and then from there, just kept on piling up with the aggression, more Widowmine shots. You know, ShoWTimE shakes his head a little bit. I think he knows that everything went south that could have here in this game.
It's such a deceiving thing because you mentioned that the Oracle almost flew into the Widowmine that was outside of his base, and maybe ShoWTimE saw that, and he's like, oh, there's the mine. Okay, now I could just go to the barracks, and it's like, no.
Really dodged the bullet right there.
Yeah,
no, you didn't.
Nope. Yeah, 2 in the chamber apparently there. So we're getting into the lobby for the next map. Solid start for Diego, showing a very good, clean game. I mean, Marine move-outs like that can be extremely dangerous if you're playing against somebody who's prone to follow-up aggression, but he scouted, the Liberator saw that it was a quicker third base, so he says, well, what do you really have to throw at me? Not a lot. If I can sneak my way around the map since I have this Onaga Watchtower, I think I can get a lot of work done, and so he did.
That timing on the proxy starports is actually great because almost every single Protoss, when they open Stargate, they go double Oracle, so then you wouldn't have the Phoenix on time. Like that first Liberator, it might not seem like it killed that many probes, but it prevented so much mining time.
You
like
denied mining. You're keeping the Phoenix home. You're forcing him to consider everything else that you have to worry about. Turning the tables, and his follow-ups were good there. That game ended very abruptly, but the third base was finishing up. He had his engineering base going, and obviously the Medevac Stim Marine Marauder production, 3-base Terran versus 2-base Protoss. Well, so that's a nice spot to be in.
It's going to be interesting from there to see whether ShoWTimE focuses on scouting for potential proxies a bit more. You know, I did talk about how he was kind of already picturing the mid-game phase of PvT where Medivacs can counter-drop if you go for any kind of move-outs. But maybe that's what actually prevented him from playing well enough in the early game. Maybe he hadn't considered that, you know, Diego could throw in some kind of proxy like this to really do some damage with it. Sometimes you tunnel vision on something, and in this case, I feel like for ShoWTimE, it might have been the mid-game.
It reminds me of the good old days, Todd. Before, every game revolved around dropping a Widowmine in the opponent's mineral line every single game. People, 5 years ago, you get that combat shields fast, and you say, here's a bunch of Marines. You probably don't have a lot if you're playing greedy. And even that one overcharged pylon, it's like, yeah, once I've got Stim, you just don't have anything with this. These adepts aren't super heavily upgraded. There's not a ton of them.
5 years ago? Pretty sure that was the Nexus that you could overcharge.
Yeah. 2012, man. That was still most a lot of macro games. You went one Rax expand with no gas. You got combat shields first because you're like, it finishes faster than Stim. And
yeah, the bomber build.
It's bigger in TVT. Right? It was more in TVT, but you could use it against the others. Bomber was the guy that was crazy enough to do it versus Zerg. It's like, I'll just split with no Stim, no big deal.
A very convincing game here out of Kelazhur, but again, that was mostly off of the back of being able to proxy that starport and not having it scouted.
Yeah.
If Protoss finds that and gets a cancel on that, then it's almost like a big disaster for Terran, especially like if he gets spotted when it's midway, it's the worst, because then you can't even, like you have to cancel, right? But you've already spent so much gas, like
when you see builds,
time in it.
I think as a Protoss, when you see builds like that too, you know, as a Terran, it slows down your follow-up very heavily. But Kelazhur, he had his follow-up extremely fast, and that's what got him that win. Let's see if the Protoss player can turn the tide. Spawning in the bottom left position of Acolyte, we have the blue Protoss player trailing 0-1. He is ShoWTimE. facing off against the Brazilian Terran in the northeast, making his fans back home very proud today. He is Kelazhur!
ShoWTimE's veto actually makes a lot of sense, I think, going for Catalina. You know, if you're worried about drops, there is no worse map to face drops than on Catalina because of all the dead space around your bases and all that. So now we're on Acolyte, definitely one of those maps where it's way easier to take a second, third base than on most and defend them. And ShoWTimE is actually opening with double assimilator there. So maybe some gas heavy tech. Like every time I see that, and I see a probe going across the map early, I'm like, all right, proxy Stargate. But it's not always the case. Like we've seen some robos being proxied. Like, let's not read too much into it just yet, but be aware that there could be something special on the menu here from ShoWTimE.
There's definitely good, dangerous options, especially since this map asks for that macro style. He's got the one probe in there, and if he keeps the probe in there until a Reaper or Marine pushes him away, that can give Kelazhur that sense of comfort where he's like, all right, if your probe's in here, you're not proxying me, right?
Yeah, like
that's what the second probe is for.
Exactly. That's so smart here. He was really selling this completely, and now I'm really thinking this is going to be a Stargate, considering the amount of gas that ShoWTimE already has.
As a Terran player,
something to Kelazhur, and I think it might work because Kelazhur so far hasn't scouted at all, and he's not even grabbing a Reaper. That's a Marine here that he went for.
Yeah, because as a Terran, you see the probe, you're like, okay, well, if the probe checks you and then immediately leaves, it could proxy. But if it stays in your base, he just wants to know what you're doing, and that gives you that false sense of security at times. He is going for the quick reactor after that one Marine, but is that going to be enough? We have adepts being built. That probe that built the Stargate could end up coming back and doing a pylon rush to compensate or help go with this. It's a very dangerous situation to be in for a Terran player.
Yeah, there's many variations of this build here from ShoWTimE. He can choose to commit everything to it, try and bust down the wall, and then send some Adepts Shade in, or he could just expand and play standard from there. It's looking like it's going to be just that here.
He's got options.
Start a Nexus.
Probe is in that pocket base. The factory is going to finish up soon, though, and he has the reactor done on his barracks, so once this depot finishes, he will be able to get 2 Marines at a time. He's going for a Reaper with this to get scouting information, which can actually end up hurting him.
That's cool.
He needs as many Marines as he can get right now to deal with this Oracle if that Widow Mine doesn't slim dunk it.
The Oracle's going to have to do a lot here, that's for damn sure, because ShoWTimE invested a lot into this. He really delayed his Nexus. Triple command center. Rotti talked about this. Kelazhur, and he doesn't do it in the most unsafe of ways, right? Some Terrans, they do it with just one racks, no gas. No. Kelazhur did go for a factory. He's getting Widow Mines.
The reactor helps a ton with this build. The thing that scares me is it's a smart, intuitive thing. You want to get the Reaper at some point to be able to scout, but that Marine count is going to be oh so important since he does not have an engineering bay. I think the first Widow Mine finished. Where did it go? Okay, did he see the Oracle with that Reaper? He needs to burrow that mine immediately and not let his Marines all get snapped up.
All right, here we go.
Gets the first SCV that was going towards the natural. We have damaged health bars on. I mean, things behind there. It's like, can we even see it? So he's poking there. He's being cautious in case there's a mine. And now he's realizing, he's like, oh, there's no mine here. Hold position. SCV barbecue, or microwave. Oracle's more of a microwave meal, I think.
You mean like when something explodes inside?
Yeah, you're just applying a lot of heat until it just blows up, right? That's why you have to cut holes in the top. So this Widow, he actually just ran it straight across the map.
Ooh. Burrow's forced here.
Okay, so that mine's there.
ShoWTimE kind of salvaged that here.
9 SCVs died, though.
Yeah.
It looks like, okay, so the Widow Mine in the natural looks like actually got the Oracle, so the Observer was just pointing that out to us.
Despite having some Widow Mine, that one in particular, on the other side of the map, ShoWTimE could very easily go into a quick third, and then, off the back of that, make sure he has a defense against the Widow Mines, go into a normal game. Probably...
It is important to mention, as you just said, if he doesn't take that fast third base, there's he tried to be cheeky there with that shade. It's like, no, have to be smoother than that.
He's gonna try again.
But that third command center is gonna help him recover from that early loss.
Yeah.
Mules are good units.
Still looking for some kills here and there. Kelazhur just grouped up enough here with his Marines to make sure that's not happening.
Straight into Blink. No resonating glaives. No big Phoenix play.
That's a bit unusual, but because the rush distance on this map is so long and the way the second and third base are set up with the positioning, I think it's actually good to go for Blink here.
Okay. I guess he can't really rely on the Stargate since it is so far out on the map.
Yeah,
and also highly likely he loses it at some point.
Very often, ShoWTimE, when he opens Blink like this, if he goes into Colossus, he's one of the absolute best players that's using this kind of build really well. And the Reaper is trying to get a scout there.
Yeah. I guess that goes also towards the defensive play that we were talking about. That
he's going to see everything. I was like, I don't know how much he's seen on the left-hand side, but I guess now he's seen everything. I guess he doesn't know technically what the Twilight Council is upgrading, but he did see a decent amount of Stalkers.
Yeah, he's got a decent amount of information to work with here. It's going to go into a very, I'd say, probably straight up TVP, right? He's going to make his way forward. I guess ShoWTimE will have to choose how he wants to play against this. You know, some players like the Disruptors. Some people got like a lot of Immortals with Charge Zealots and the Blink Stalkers.
If Kelazhur didn't have a third command center yet, then now he would have had to make a choice. Does he come into 2 base for a long time and try and do an attack, or does he take the third CC? But since he already has that, he can take his sweet time at this point. There's no need for him to play very aggressive. And in fact, he's going to have to be the one defending here. A lot of Protosses, they're so good that whenever they get Blink, even when they just have a few Oracles like this for detection, they still go forward and they try to apply a lot of pressure.
Yep, and he's going to step up. It's like, okay, well, didn't blink away from that one. All right. So the Oracles are going to move through here. He actually, okay, he dodges the second shot of these Widow Mines. I like this. He wanted to move out.
Oh!
Okay.
ShoWTimE a little bit sloppy here with some of these.
Yeah, I mean, he had the vision of the medevac. He could see it unload all of those Widow Mines. Maybe just lost track of him, I guess. There's another one on this ramp. He needs to be careful those blinks. It is going to be a robotics bay follow-up.
Yeah.
He's getting a War Prism, so we could see him go into Disruptors or Colossus. There, he's trying to bait out this mine shot. Oracle's given the high ground vision, though. Needs to be very cautious as that mine on the south side is ready to go again, too.
That was too close for comfort, man.
Yeah.
I thought that guy was dead.
He's been like, yeah, I just want to dodge mines with
Yeah.
blinks, you know, my Adept can shade away, etc., etc.
This is so smart by Kelazhur, by the way. He sees that there is Stalkers on his side of the map. He's like, I'm just going to counterattack with one single Liberator, try and kill some of these probes, prevent mining time, force Stalkers to be warped in across the map. Finally, the first Observer here enters the field. And it's going to be a pretty useful one here against
the splash
Mines.
gets the Observer, so his detection is gone again. Very frustrating situation to be in as a Protoss when that splash gets him. Liberator sieges up on that third base, as you were saying. It's going to go to work on these probes. 3 picked off, of course, pushing away from the mineral line. Robotics bay done yet? Where is he going with this? Is it
Colossus?
Could it be the Disruptors or Colossus?
No, he went for Colossus, and
Okay.
it's resonating glaives with a lot more gates. So gonna be adding on a ton of adepts here to try and shade forward, blink under the Liberators, and have the Colossus wipe out the entire Terran army. You don't want to attack that ShoWTimE, by the way.
That's your friend.
These are your friends.
Gateways are your friends, Protoss players. So he comes up, it's like, okay, need to build another pylon here. Liberator's gonna get, the Focus Probe's gonna gotten a few of them. But just wounds that Stalker. And Marine Marauder pushes here. I mean, Extended Thermal Lance has only just started, Todd. So he'll have one Colossus, but he won't have Resonating Glaives just yet, and he won't have the Colossus range, which honestly just makes the target just a big, expensive dummy unit.
And the sentries are only now being made, which means they are not going to have enough energy for Guardian Shield here in some of these fights. Obviously, there is overcharge defensively, but if Kelazhur uses his mobility properly, that second base is always going to be exposed. Like, ShoWTimE, I'm pretty sure... Wait, his Mothership Core is around the third base. Where is it? Okay, no, he needs to keep that around the natural. Usually, the Mothership Core on this map is dedicated almost entirely to keeping that second base safe, that pocket expansion.
It just asks for a Doom Drop with the way that it's laid out. If you can get a good position there, it is very difficult to move your army back from the front.
Reminds me of
that third
Nimbus,
base.
that second base.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's a lot like Nimbus in that regard. The Warp Prism
map
is...
when you beat me, actually. Like,
yeah.
was
It's
me,
3 CC, 5 racks, man. Everybody thinks I'm going to cheese him. Like, nah, man, it's greedy. I'm a greedy boy. So the Adepts are going to drop inside of this base. Doesn't have that +1, so we see a lot of almost dead, nearly headless SCVs running away. He's going to shade back towards the main base. Dark Shrine on the way back home, but here we go. The drop on the other side.
Oh, he's not dropping.
You got to unload those? You got to unload those? Nope. Nope, okay.
Wow.
Loses a medevac. The rest do nothing.
They took a lot of damage here. Sure, now those Adepts are finally going to die, but they took out so many SCVs already. It feels like Kelazhur needs to be aggressive on the other side of the map.
More. Yeah. When it rains, it pours. There's a lot more coming in. He drops into this choke point perfectly for the Colossi to get their shots, and he's going to kill one. Perhaps the second now here as well. He got a Widow Mine Bird in there too, so he's getting damage. There's the push over towards the third base. A similar number of probes have been killed to the SCVs. Now this is still a decent spot for Kelazhur.
A Dark Shrine is about to finish, and I see no turret in the pocket expansion of Kelazhur, so this could do a lot of damage. He just spent a lot of energy on mules and scans. 24 probes did die though, and Kelazhur still has a healthy supply lead here.
Yeah, what happened to the War Prism? Is it still alive on the other side of the map, or was he able to get that?
Yeah, it's still flying around.
All right,
Came back around the bottom though.
It might be for the Dark Templar then is still quite big.
Yeah, ShoWTimE lost so many probes here. Kelazhur really making the most of these exchanges. ShoWTimE is gonna need some insane DTs killing everything here if he wants to have a good chance of winning this game. I cannot believe here that Kelazhur is just making it look so easy. You know, it looks like he's just gonna be 2-0 here up in a second if ShoWTimE cannot do something drastic.
Well, I mean,
second.
that's just The way that all happened was so awkward, though. He had the 4 medevacs ready to go, just gives one of them up for free. The other half lose half their hit points while he loses 20 SCVs and a ton of units inside of that pocket base. But Kelazhur keeps his goes like, all right, I know what I need to do with the units that I have on the field. He makes the most of it. He kills the Colossi, the big expensive units. And a good play there to make sure that mine didn't hit anything. Not that there were a lot of probes there to begin with, but...
I think Kelazhur is realizing how much damage he's done, by the way, because he kind of slowed down, even though there is 4 bases. I think he fully realizes that he's killed a ton of probes, and then he's going to go again for some more aggression.
A big drop with an 11 hit point medevac, because the observer points out, I don't know, Todd. It's not looking all that good over there. We do have that DT drop coming in, though. 2 of them are going to come straight back, but there's a turret in the back of the mineral line. There's the scan, concussive shell. Great upgrade as the Dark Templar are not able to escape.
ShoWTimE is in a world of trouble right now. He's pumping probes out 4 by 4,
Protoss
but look at this supply.
60, 70 supply. That's a lot of supply, Todd.
That's double the army supply, 100 to 50 right now. So ShoWTimE, I don't know if he's ready in that pocket expansion. He has some pylons set up, but he has energy for only 1 overcharge here. This bio is going to start on doing a lot of damage. Meanwhile, Kelazhur on the right-hand side is posturing with the main chunk of his army.
Goes with the defensive DT warp in to help supplement this, but he drops the scan, kills a few of those Dark Templar. That's very, very expensive losses as Kelazhur's main army is positioned, as you said, Todd, outside that east base. It looks like a DT or the Warp Prism's actually playing around the pocket expansion of Kelazhur at the same time. It just went back from that fourth base. 2 DTs get into this base. There is a missile turn on the east side.
That's a dead Colossus.
He hallucinates one, but he's not going to take the bait as the scan reveals it, and he kills everything else. Scans are so overpowered, Todd. When you can see it's a hallucination, your units don't even shoot him. GG, Kelazhur goes up 2-0 against the German Protoss, showing that prime form that this Terran mastermind has been in all year long.
ShoWTimE, the European Challenger champion here for Montreal, in a bit of trouble here against the Brazilian player who's at this point really starting to be a little bit of a nemesis here for the German Protoss. Won his last 2 series against him, and he's looking great here in that best of 5.
People talk about the players to look out for, the guys that you think can make those deep runs, and that name special always comes up, but Kelazhur giving a great run for his money here today. Let's hear what the boys in the desk have to say about this series so far.
That's right, thank you very much. 2-0 for Kelazhur right now. I can't help but feel a little bit of deja vu from our Hearthstone Scarlet series before.
It's a French term, you know that, right?
Yeah, it is actually, now that I think about it. I shouldn't have said it because Todd's going to be triggered for a moment because I've probably said it wrong. Anyway, aside from that, is that Kelazhur looks absolutely amazing. And you mentioned that he's normally not the guy that we consider to be the favorite coming into these series, but we're getting to that point where we have to start doing that now.
You know, James, I'm not the most knowledgeable commentator. I do make a few good jokes every once in a while, but sometimes just a few stars align just enough where I'm like, I think this guy's pretty good. And they're like, wow, Jeff, look at you go. But yeah, this is, if you've been watching how the games have gone, I'm not looking at ShoWTimE and thinking this guy's having a full-on meltdown. He's playing well below his level. I'm just very impressed with the execution from Kelazhur. He's making each and every one of those Widow Mines do something for him. Maybe a little bit of excessive Oracle play. I think that is a subtle tipping point for Protoss, where like if you lose 2 and you're making 3 or 4 Oracles and all they're doing after that is like revealing and eliminating some of those kind of random Widow Mines, that's a lot of investment for very little return.
Right.
So that's been the subtle thing that I think has been holding him back.
Roddy, you have Snoot versus Haas currently ongoing.
Yeah, if you want, we can jump into my screen real quick.
Good.
It's a pretty typical Haas game. What I love the most, James, is actually the upgrade tab. These are the upgrades.
Wait, what?
14 minutes in, Haas didn't get a single upgrade, but he's about to get his first, and it's the carrier upgrade, Gravity Catapult. Yeah, that's the way that he plays. No warp gate, Oracle, cannons. Is obviously started off with a cannon rush. That was pretty successful. And because of that cannon rush, Snoot was not able to take his natural at first. So you're forced to take this base and then this base all the way to the top. And that's because, then it becomes harder to defend against mass Oracle, which is obviously what Haas has been trying to do. He lost a couple of them throughout this game. A few fungals did connect, but I feel like this is quite similar to that game number 1 I was talking about earlier, right, in this series, where I feel that Haas just lost all of his Oracles right before carriers. This time, I think he really is going to get up to carriers, and then hopefully eventually he gets a robotics facility as well, which I don't think he has yet, but I'd really like to see a couple of observers, and then obviously 1 or 2 Oracles for Revelation, and then maybe the carriers can actually get a point on the board for our friend Haas.
I'm just a little bit stunned that he didn't have warp gate tech
He has nothing.
or anything.
My
during
favorite
these
part about
games.
Has to this day, and I've said this for years now, is just if he was on the main stage and we cut to him,
Yeah.
you know how like Chan gave a cheeky wink and
Yeah.
Artur is checking Team Liquid and smiling. Like these guys show emotion, you show Has, and he'll just be like, next game, please. You know, just like stone cold.
He's the best. He's the best.
I
He's
do think
smart,
this
too. He
is-
declines interviews. He actually specifically yesterday was like, I will not do an interview.
This is like, I feel his comfort zone though. He's currently at 37 cannons and adding a few more. So
Comfort zone.
We're reaching a pretty good
40
stage
is
of the
that
game.
high point where
Yeah.
they really start to shine.
Yeah.
All right, my
I'll let-
friend.
yeah,
Sorry, go on.
I'll let you guys know how it ends, obviously, but I do want to say about Kelazhur as well. I think he played incredibly solid there.
Yeah.
Game number 2, I do agree that I feel like it almost made no sense for ShoWTimE to be so aggressive with the Stalkers, because this is Acolyte, right? On a map like Odyssey, where let's say the Natural is on the low ground, if you make a push like that with a couple of Stalkers and Oracles, it can be very annoying for a Terran to defend. They need to repair the bunkers all the time. But right now, Kelazhur was just kind of chilling, right? On top of that ramp, he has a couple Widow mines.
Yeah.
He creates a little bit of a weird scenario with all these mines, and it just felt that ShoWTimE made it too complicated for himself.
Okay, I want to ask one final question before we go back to the
You'll
game.
get one question here.
And it is, prior to this, you made the estimation that Scarlet wouldn't be able to come back from the deficit. I'm going to ask you the same question for this series. Is ShoWTimE, does he have a hope coming back from the deficit?
I mean, just like at that time, I was dead on, 0% chance. ShoWTimE is toast here, I think. No, I mean, it is possible, but looking at the gameplay, you're not finding it there. He's got to be digging deep in
Right.
his break right now and coming back with something different, because if he just opens Stargate and he's just like, maybe I get an SFE kill or two, and then I'm just like revealing Widow Mines until I die,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
he's dead.
All right, well, thank you very much, Jeff. Thank you very much, Rotterdam, as we now head over to the next game. Game number 3 here. ShoWTimE is on death's door here at WCS Montreal.
Thank you very much, Kalaris. That's right. We're getting ready to go into potentially the last game of this series, as our boy Kelazhur has been destroying in this series. ShoWTimE has not been able to find a foothold against our Brazilian Terran. Will he find one now? We're loaded into Odyssey, and spawning in the bottom right position is that man that needs to go back to back to back in this series to get out of here. He is ShoWTimE. He faces off against the strongest Terran showing of this tournament so far by a large margin. A lot of fans here cheering for him. He is in the red. He's Kelazhur.
Time for ShoWTimE to bring this back. I expect some great play here out of him if he can finally, step up to the level of Kelazhur. ShoWTimE recently was ranked 1 to 4th on the European ladder.
Yeah.
He had 4 accounts from 1st to 4th.
He's buying up all the property under like shell names on the ladder. He's taking over, but it's like, you know what? That one account still needs to be, you can't have all 4 of yourselves playing at the same time, Todd.
You can't.
No.
God forbid.
No one's persona is
That'd be
that
pretty
strong. So we have the probe coming in. It was a gas first build. He'll be able to get a very quick factory after this. I was curious whether there would be another SCV earlier out on the map. The potential for a proxy factory is definitely there. This can also just be a little bit of a quicker Reaper follow-up into that reactor again, though. It's not going to be anything super crazy. We're not bringing the cheddar out here from ShoWTimE.
Yeah.
Just that straight Nexus down, gets the core, and then he'll get his next gas.
It's crazy, in this day and age, you can't be a one-trick pony anymore. You have to be an all-around solid player.
You
have
say
to be
that,
able-
but we just saw Haas with only 30 Oracles lost and no war.
Yeah, but he's 1,000 tricks pony. It's like cannon rush, and then next game, it skips warp gates. Sometimes
There's
mass
definitely
gateway.
a predictable formula to Haas.
Well,
madness.
okay, in the aggression, but in
But
terms
still,
of build orders,
he's the
like,
exception. He's the exception that proves the
Yeah.
rule. That's fair, Todd. That's fair.
I mean, build order wise and all that, you have to be a solid player, all around. You have to do cheeses here and there. You have to do solid macro and all that. And I really feel like for a lot of these top players here that we see in the WCS circuit, that's the case nowadays. Like Kelazhur, he's thrown in some proxies, but he can also, get a maxed out army and really make the most of it. Same goes for ShoWTimE. He used to be that guy that was known as a defensive Protoss that, maybe wouldn't attack enough at times. That's gone. Whenever he needs to attack now, he does it. But so far in this series, it's more the defense that has been lacking. Maybe he's tried to be a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah.
And it's costed him some probes on his side.
He did have that very cumbersome attack on Acolyte where he walked into the field of Widow Mines and just kind of got stuck. I mean, the best offense we've seen from ShoWTimE in this series has been his probe harassing building SCVs at the start of the game. That's not a good sign, Todd.
Yeah. It's funny because like it takes a lot of effort as well. Like you would think like, he's pretty good. Like I'm doing good. I mean,
it's like, man, I almost killed 2 SCVs with my first worker. You think my Oracle would get 10? It's like, no, just dies. Scoop and score on that Widow Mine. He's opening up with a couple Hellions, so this is going to be maybe one of those just like run into your main, scout everything, and try to grab a few probes at the same time situations, because everything's going to be a bit preoccupied with that there engineer and bay.
Yeah, sometimes when you get eBay blocked like this on your natural, you're going to feel like you lose a lot of mining time, and you're really going to focus your chrono boost a little bit more on your Nexus, in which case you kind of like make a lot of probes, and that's when those Hellions come in, and you have a little bit less of everything else. And you start losing a ton of probes here to these Hellions. And in this case, I love that Kelazhur made a...
This can get awkward, though.
Yeah, he made like
knows.
2 Widow Mines after this. Like, he's still getting his defense off the back of this.
This Adept's definitely getting a lot of value, but that engineering bay that's been blocking, he knows that the Mothership Core's in the natural. He's like, you got nothing in your main. You're going to use your Oracle to kill Hellions? Like, this is what you want to do with your opening? Like, of course not. So he's able to get in. He does a little bit of poke, but now he has more information. He pulled him back, and that Oracle will be way less effective on the other side of the map now that it's already had to activate Pulsar Beam.
There's so many Widow Mines already on the map. Like it's
mines around the world. Nothing more dangerous than a randomly placed Widow Mine, Todd.
Kelazhur is a little devil as well with them. He places them super well, then he finally starts dropping them. I don't care how many Oracles you have, you know, like if Widow Mine starts burrowing in your mineral lines, you better be ready in position with the overcharge and
so
the depth.
cautious, yeah. It's huge. And look at this, he's getting more mines, and he's adding a Viking to the mix. He's like, I am not dealing with this air stuff this game. I'm not gonna give you any leeway. And this is exactly where his Oracle died on the other map. Mech Depot, no, okay. Backs off just in time.
Yeah, I think
you can see that Oracle doesn't really have a lot of energy to work with.
Starting to grow extra wary here of those Widow Mines, but that one, that's the sneaky one. That's the game-winning Widow Mine right there.
It's the net. The Oracle finds its way around the first mine. It kind of slips in, and then it's like, oh, okay. And then it's, oh, I gotta get out of here. Pulls back, immediately dies. Like that's just the way it is.
Where is he going with this? Like ShoWTimE really wants to be aggressive with these Oracles, but like all signs are like, you know, like do not trespass, like dog inside or something. He's still like trying to break in.
Don't dead open inside, exactly. That Viking as well. Like you don't see that from Terran players very often to deal with this, but Diego does not want to take any chances, but still, the Oracles find their way to the only open spot in his entire defense.
Is it open, though?
Is it open? I didn't see it. I'm blind. I'm sorry.
4 SCVs. That's not too bad.
And
oh, my God.
alley-oop. Boom. Get the...
Wow. This is getting almost like depressing at this point here for ShoWTimE. Lost 2 Oracles already in this game. Like,
this offense preview of the Jets game tomorrow I'm feeling here. Just, not some very good passes going across the field. And Kelazhur's like, all right, now it's my turn, baby. It is a Phoenix follow-up. The anti-air is there. Will he be able to catch it? The Phoenix get very close to Medivac, and nope.
Yeah.
Well, if those are across the map when the mines land.
Don't you dare compare the Jets to ShoWTimE, by the way.
Nah, I guess that's pretty bad, yeah. he could just probe rush and lose everything, and it'd still be better than the Jets. This Viking is gonna get cleaned up on the other side of that. He's like, maybe I'll kill a few SCVs, and it's like, maybe I'll kill all of your probes. That Medivac dangerously close.
ShoWTimE is still trying to be super aggressive, but he keeps on losing units. This has been the story of this entire series. He's still quite a bit ahead in walkers right now. If he can minimize the damage
here we go. 4 Widow Mines. There's nothing here to defend this. They're gonna burrow up. The probes are on the run. He's got 2 more mines to bring over to the other base, so 3 probes killed so far. There's no pylon in the back of the natural to deal with these mines either. 1 Phoenix lift up, he's able to get it, and the next mine shot will get just a probe.
Yeah, but that one, when he's going to be redropped in the natural
and the
right now, can
Robo's
be
not done yet. The Robo's not done yet either, so he doesn't have observers.
That one can burrow.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Get to work. All right, well. Kelazhur forgot about that one.
You know, there's like the yield rates on these, like some of them are just not that good. You know, some of the mines just don't know how to do it. But +1 attack is finishing up, which will help the Adepts to a good degree. Blink is starting up, and he's being very wary of this mine inside the natural. Those probes hugging that pylon for dear life. That probe sacrifices himself, and that's cleaned up. But everything else still just looks so good back home. During all of this, Kelazhur's got his extra barracks set up, his +1 is finishing up, and it's gonna time out with his second engineering bay and his armory, so he'll be able to go straight to +2. His upgrades have been looking great all series long, and he's got another giant army that's ready to move across the map. There's no big follow-up here in tech to help. He's just got +1 in resonating glaives to deal with this.
Yeah, which a lot of the time can be enough, to be fair. As long as you have enough adepts, you synergize them well with the Phoenixes, but having lost the Oracles is going to remove a lot of the really effective spotting potential here, since there is no observer sound on the map. He does see this army coming here. ShoWTimE's going to shade one first time forward. That should be a cancel.
Yeah.
There is Guardian Shields available,
If he fights,
which is very important.
I feel like if he fights, he wants to have that Guardian Shield available, so shading that aggressively can be very dangerous. But at the same time, if he gets pushed back and pinned into the natural, then his third becomes extremely vulnerable as well.
I think ShoWTimE needs to shade in eventually, pick up the Widow Mines at the last second, use Guardian Shield, and then clean up the bulk of this army. And I think Kelazhur knows that this is going to happen eventually, so he just pulls back.
Yep, and that Observer did get killed earlier, so he had himself a little bit of time, a little bit of space there. But at the same time, +2 attack, it's on the way. He's moving into Liberator production.
Yeah.
The third base is landed. He's on a very good economic position versus the Protoss, and he's been able to kind of bully him back by a little time. Robo Bay's only just started.
This is the best position that ShoWTimE's been in, though, in terms of like mid-game, reaching the mid-game, like the pre-Colossus.
Yeah.
Getting the second Robo and the Robo Bay now, so he's going to go very, very heavily into Colossus. Now getting Blink as well, about to finish. So he's already got the Adept counts. From now on, it's going to be Colossus and Stalkers. And making the Prism before the Robo Bay finishes allows you to send that across the map and have a huge threat here with these Adept swap-ins that can kill so many SCVs super quickly.
How ShoWTimE handles this next attack is extremely important. He's taking the gold base. He has a very large army on the way to him. He has the Robo Bay done, but he can't have Colossi out yet. So how is he going to deal with this? He's just going to fight him straight up in the open, in the middle. Liberators are going to siege up on top of the army. He needs to be very cautious. He's going to take a couple shots running away, but not able to clear out too much of this just yet. No heavy hitters in this army like Immortals or Colossus.
Yeah, I see some units across the map on the left-hand side. Some Adepts here. We're getting some of these SCVs, 4 of them in total.
Oh! Liberators, nope, no. Grabs the Widow Mine. Okay,
wow.
This is a very good pickoff for ShoWTimE. The power units of Kelazhur's army being swatted back.
Yeah, you can't let that happen here. Kelazhur. ShoWTimE already going into Disruptor, by the way. He doesn't wait until he has like 4 to 6 Colossi. He already gets one of those Disruptors. Surprised to see the Prism kind of staying at the bottom. I guess he's warping in at the top, because I see like...
I like the Disruptor decision, though, because he doesn't have quick access to External Thermal Lance, right? At least if the Disruptor pops, you can immediately have that one shot to try and get it. But these Medivacs get caught at the West Watchtower by the Phoenix, forces him to drop and land. And a lot of these Medivacs very low. Might be able to snag that one on the right if he's not too careful. Or he can push him into that randomly placed Widow Mine town.
If ShoWTimE can reach like a high Colossus count, have enough Stalkers to deal with Liberators, I think he's going to do great in this kind of game. He just needs to reach a big army and stop taking so much damage all over the place, which in this game he's definitely done a good job.
He's held it together.
Minimizing.
I mean, the early play wasn't super crazy for him, but he's held it together since we hit this mid-game phase. Some of these Adepts are going to just shade straight into the natural. Most of the army's here to deal with them.
This is the very scary part as well, where Protoss takes the gold base as a 4th base, and then their economy just completely blows up out of control. Like the production of ShoWTimE is just going to be insane from there. So Kelazhur not finding the damage here in the last few minutes. He mostly postured forward here with most of his army, and that was pushed back.
Look where this is flying to. That's a dangerous flight path. I mean, if he goes over that base, he might just barely clip by the Phoenix, but they will be very quick to go and snag those Medivacs if they try to make their way out. And these Adepts get caught on the north side by this pylon. These Marines and Marauders will clean him up, no problem. He's making his way to that gold base. Now the probes are moved away. So he had a Liberator siege in the natural. The big drop comes into the main. That pulled all the Phoenix over. He's able to shut down a few of the gateways. He can plant his mines. He can plant his Liberators. The Dark Stride's not ready yet. It's just 2 Photon Cannons and a single Adept to stop about 30 supply, it looks like, a Marine Marauder at the north side. So Kelazhur just spreading himself all over the place. One Big Daddy Colossus is going to show up with a few of these Stalkers to try and hold the door, but the Mothership Core has been knocked down. The Forge is being picked off. +2 armor looks like it's going to barely finish, though. And at the same time, a Warp Prism counterattack across the map.
Yeah, Kelazhur is finding damage all over the place right there. He needs to be careful. His army could melt very quickly. I think he gets out just right on time. Those Widow Mines still getting some damage done, but Kelazhur saves a huge chunk of his army after doing some very big damage here into that main base, sniping one of the forgers, a bunch of gateways as well. Remember, ShoWTimE has the gold base, so his minerals are going to be going high very quickly.
But still, great defense from ShoWTimE. Things could have fallen apart so fast there with the Liberator on his natural. Wally gets attacked at the main base with that big drop and the fourth, but he holds the gold. He keeps his main. He finishes the +2, which was very close to being taken down. So the fusion core is done. We can get in the Liberator range, but a fleet bacon, Todd. We are going to see a little bit of that capital ship prowess to deal with them flying Terran units.
Yeah. Actually, Mothership can still be very scary here in the matchup to be added onto the army.
Oh.
I mean, if it's alive, that is. And ShoWTimE's actually moving forward. Usually when you're close to maxing out and you have, a good amount of Colossi to Stalkers to Adepts, it might be good to attack, especially if the Terran army, has been going around dying, scheming,
with all these drops
injured and all that.
I was just looking at the army. I was like, man, these guys look a bit bruised. Not a lot of healing going on there, and that can make things difficult because as these medevacs have no energy. You want to move. You want to make Liberators now. You want to be building Liberators, Vikings to deal with the Colossus to a degree, but when you want to get range upgrade for your Liberators, which makes them almost impossible to kill in certain siege spots, and just get the rest done. These two random Widow Mines in his base are very awkward as well.
Yeah, ShoWTimE now working on his 3-3 upgrades. He's gonna want to make sure he gets that before he fights if he can. Still looking to try and send some of these Adepts forward here. He must have killed so many SCVs already this game.
ShoWTimE's definitely in his element this game. We have 3-3 on the way with those forges as +2 armor is completing. +3 attack been done for a while for Kelazhur. He went for that fast armor.
Wow.
But Tempest production and 2 more Stargates.
ShoWTimE willing to slow things down here. He wants to go into Tempest. He wants to fight against Mass Liberators from afar, try and shoot down these guys. Not the most cost-effective Adepts, but I guess those are expendable.
I wonder how the Tempest will do if the Liberator count gets high up, though, because there is definitely this map. It's so
this
open
hasn't been spotted. He's looking to try and blow up that planetary fortress on the gold base there.
Oh, he's gonna try to bust this. Look how yellow and
he's gonna get it.
Marines and Marauders are too. This army will have a hard time engaging potentially. He's gonna have to stim again. That's gonna be most of these health.
There is no reinforcing prism. Kelazhur is gonna jump on top of this army and try and punish.
And he's fighting with a half-health bio ball, but he does have the Viking support on top to help push the Colossi back. If the Stalkers blink into that, they will be destroyed. But he got a lot of that economy. 45 SCVs now for Kelazhur. He's been hurt pretty bad. He's stumbling, but he's not knocked down just yet.
Damn, this Colossi making me nervous here. Moving far away from the army here thanks to the pathing. ShoWTimE still trying to be aggressive at the top. He keeps on sending units very consistently, and every time it's so hard for Kelazhur to defend. I mean, at this point, there's nothing left to kill here.
It's like
he's already killed everything.
When harassing the base, it's like, well, my army could be elsewhere. But no, don't worry, I just sent some more SCVs for you. It's all good.
It's on me.
Yeah, exactly.
3 Tempests about to come out. This is the one timing that Kelazhur here could make something big happen with. Vikings come forward. He needs to get right in there here. He needs to go for the attack and commit to it.
I love that he made so many Vikings. The Tempests do not have the ability to really remove any power units from the field here. They're just eating up a lot of that supply as the bio spreads, continues to push. Once the Marines and Vikings get close to these Tempests, they're going to plow through. Kelazhur bringing the supply oh so close. He's pushed through the pylons. He's retreated back to the natural, but another wave of Adepts is going to come in. Can he defend this? He has 2 Tempests, 6 Stalkers, and 9 Adepts to stop this monstrous Kelazhur army.
Yeah, some great SCV transfer here. Kelazhur, before losing all of the SCVs, still looking to try and go for the kill here. ShoWTimE, he pulled back properly. This army still packs a lot of punch here from Kelazhur, but again, like, he needs to commit more to this. He can't go back home and play slow from there. I think he needs to do more damage because ShoWTimE's on 5 bases and
ShoWTimE's got
being left
that
untouched.
paper. He can rebuild this if he's given time. The accidental, maybe, is it accidental? Carrier on the way?
It is. You don't want to go...
You build carriers versus Marines, Todd?
Yeah, versus Marines 3-3, you don't get 1 carrier without Graviton Catapult, Nathan, yes.
The upgradeless carrier. So he pushes him back here. The gold base, he does finally have some SCVs on again, but he's been down 38 workers. As nice as mules are, when the Protoss can spread themselves across this many bases, it helps a lot. I think ShoWTimE's going to want to grab 1 or 2 more soon.
ShoWTimE a little bit hesitant. He just started 2 Colossi, then he was like, nah, he canceled, went for 2 Disruptors instead. So he's really trying to synergize Tempest with Disruptors with a good mix of gateway units.
It's nice, though, because he still has some of those Tempests, and Kelazhur has not been rebuilding the Vikings. He's leaned a bit more heavily into the Liberators. He's got a good count. Wow. Talk about it. His observer spots the 4 medevacs flying over the south side.
A grounded observer.
Grounded observer.
If Kelazhur just drops units from one single medivac, gets the cancel on the Nexus, and drops with the rest in the main base, he's going to do just that here. This is again a big threat, but there's Stalkers in position.
One of the weaker medivacs in front, but he's able to unload them all. This Photon Cannon is not going to be able to defend on its own. The one hero carrier to knock down those Marauders into the base. Disruptor shot cleans up the drop, though, and the Tempest with the Stalker support will scoop up these medivacs, and now Kelazhur. Well, he's bleeding, Todd. He's bleeding bad. He doesn't have a whole lot to lean on for the rest of this game as his bases are a mining out. And how is he going to get more? The Dark Templar presence on the map will continue to be a threat if he tries to stretch himself even further. And now ShoWTimE is going to be able to max out soon.
Yeah.
And Kelazhur, he is quite far from getting back up there.
ShoWTimE's infamous defense here finally in full effect in this series. Really making the most here out of splitting his units, making sure he minimizes the damage, even though there were damage dealt all the time here from those medivac drops of Kelazhur. Yep. Now finds himself on the back foot, kind of trapped inside of his spaces here on the left, on his side of the map at least. And ShoWTimE, I think, is about to attack with his very well assembled army here with a good amount of Colossi, Disruptors, Tempests.
Yeah, this is really nice. He pulls the army away with it with the DT. I don't think he can quite break this just yet. He's chilling. He's getting the Templar Archives, realizing Storm will definitely be a useful tool as this game progresses forward. I love that he's getting the shield upgrades, though. This is a great compliment to all of the forces that he has. +3 armor is on the way for the infantry at long last. Ship weapons, gearing up, but Kelazhur is still very far behind in terms of the overall supply, and he's down 20 army as well.
It's going to be so hard for him to engage this. He's going to try to come in from behind, but Disruptors here, the real threat against this army of Terran.
Yep, having the Liberators here to help zone this away. Keep in mind, the Liberators never got the range upgrade. He never actually got the advanced ballistics.
I think
so
ShoWTimE might just be happy to engage here. He's going to go for the engagement.
It's like, well, if you want to fight down, coming down this cliff, like that's one of those positions that can kind of favor you. It's dangerous to get too close on the ground. There are DTs mixed into this army. The Tempest take their pot shots at these Liberators and the hero carrier.
Kelazhur still have a massive army, by the way, despite the supply difference. He's 121
It's a lot of the workers that he
124.
lost. It is mostly in the workers.
He's using mules very well, though, thanks to that gold base that he took late, which is finally going to be mined out very soon.
Still scary because DTs, you want to have scans on hand. If you're only relying on mules, situations like this can get mighty dicey. He does clean that up. He's going to make the switch into Ghost, but more DTs just hacking and slashing on the other side of the field. He needs to get another base desperately.
Yeah, Storm is finally going to start. I think I saw a Ghost Academy finish a second ago, but Kelazhur doesn't really have the economy to get a ton of these guys.
Well, he needs to be cautious. This army is big, as you said. The Disruptor is going to be the key play here. And I feel like that's where not having Liberator range is definitely going to hurt. He could zone this out much better if he had gotten that upgrade earlier on in this game. Like, yeah, okay, just let the Tempest eat those.
Yeah.
Use hold positions so your units don't walk to their death if you can manage it.
ShoWTimE can just do this all day here. Shoot from afar, synergize with the Stalkers, and then whenever Kelazhur loses patience, that's when the Colossi are going to be cleaning up the ground, the Disruptors as well. The Storm coming in behind these more bases. ShoWTimE finally fighting back here. And he's looking pretty good right now in that third map for him to bring back the score a little bit. But Kelazhur is not out of it just yet.
He's got to be cautious. Where's the reinforcement point here? Is there a Warp Prism close by to this army? Do we have a pylon with a gateway? Is a Marine going to potentially kill these two High Templar? Find out next time. No, never mind. So Storm is finishing up, though. +1 air weapons is on the way for ShoWTimE. That'll be a nice boost.
Oh, Kelazhur's going for it.
Nice.
He's trying to catch him off guard and landed one big EMP.
Yeah, EMP all over the middle. The Disruptor hits from the south side, but he's going to continue the chase. Grabs that Disruptor. He's moving forward. The Colossi trying to use that force field backbone to hold on. But it's a very slow moving, all these expensive forces.
Yeah, both players are doing this so well. Kelazhur knows he needs to go for the fight. ShoWTimE knows that he needs to run back. He's going to try to force field his way back. Reinforce with more units to make sure he doesn't lose the game right there and then.
If Kelazhur keeps chasing with these stims, though, once these Colossi turn around, they're just going to kill everything with one volley. Another great Disruptor shot, and here come the Templar. They don't have enough energy for Storm, though, so they're just chilling, and Kelazhur's army's dead anyway. GG, ShoWTimE gets on the board. A lot of stimming towards the end of that. By the time Kelazhur got the fight that he wanted, his Marines had 20 health. Don't want to fight against Protoss with Zergling's time.
A 21 minutes game, action-packed, incredible effort here out of ShoWTimE.
The game started off looking like the first two. I felt like Kelazhur dealt with the early aggression well. He started to put the pressure on immediately, but then ShoWTimE, he put his hand up. He's like, no, not like this. and things started to swing back. Great way that he dealt with that triple prong attack, the Liberator and the Natural, with that Doom Drop in the main, and that Medevacless attack at the gold base. As a Protoss, splitting your army like that, Todd, it's so important to be able to deal with that. If you take one or two, many few or less units, you save one base, but you lose all the others.
And Kelazhur, you know, like, if we look at the ticker here, it says that, you know, he's 6th, so it's not completely safe just yet. You know, there is a few scenarios in which he actually goes out of that top 8 and doesn't go to the global final. So very important for him to secure the win there up against the ShoWTimE, who's very hungry for those global finals, I'm sure, despite saying that, you know, he was trying not to think about it so that he wouldn't be in too much of a pressure position.
And is that no regret going to give advice to Kelazhur? If I was Kelazhur, you push him away. No. Yeah.
No, I will not proxy all of my buildings.
No, I don't need the cheese to beat this guy. I've got it. I've got it in the bag. It's okay. It's okay. So we're moving on to Abyssal Reef. Nice cheeky map. This is an anything goes map for sure for TVP. You can bust out the cheese, but
yeah,
you can get those macro games going in.
Definitely one of those good maps, though. I think to play ShoWTimE style, essentially, have the right defense, right amount of aggression, and then build up a big army, with which I really favor ShoWTimE a lot of the time. If you can get the proper upgrades and the proper army composition, ShoWTimE is a beast in those maxed out situations.
Yeah, and one thing that still, I feel like this is one of the best upgrades in the game. When you're playing late game Terran versus Protoss, the advanced ballistics for the Liberators. It is so crucial to be able to zone away. Just think about those Colossi retreating back across the force fields. You're trying to catch those units. They can't turn around that easily if the Liberators can put those circles a bit further.
I gotta say, though, the top Protosses like ShoWTimE, Neeb, they're so good against Liberators that even with advanced ballistics, like sometimes they will make it look like the worst upgrade in the world. Like it almost plays against you. They just play around the circles, they counterattack, they use the mobility of the army. They make sure that basically the Liberators never get the fight that they are looking for, which obviously, like if you're Terran, you can't try and force.
Yeah, I mean, I think about it in the context of those fights by like the low ground base where he's trying to get the Disruptor close enough to keep the Marines from stopping the Tempest, but if he has Liberator range, the Disruptors can't get anywhere near close enough to where the Marines have to stand to help push the Tempest back, if he has no observers, of course, because he needs that vision. It's been good back and forth series. Now it's back and forth. Kelazhur had a dominating first 2 games. But ShoWTimE's gonna potentially bring us to game number 5 as we move forward. The players are in the lobby, just making sure everything's set up, making sure everybody's ready to rock and roll. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this here in this event, this wonderful city of Montreal. It's very nice, Todd. I've been enjoying my time here.
Been loving it, man.
Yeah. Especially everybody tuning in all around the world, online, talking about the great plays that have been happening here. A lot of big fans of Scarlet, of course, competing in this tournament. And some of the crazy builds, the Hyperflight rotor memes, everything.
Neeb against Scarlet, man. That's going to be so sick.
That's going to be one hell of a match. The ultimate showdown of North America.
North America is actually playing really well here so far in this tournament. I talked about it, when I was saying, the bottom part of the bracket, I feel it's going to be all about Europe. I was kind of picturing ShoWTimE beating Kelazhur, whereas now, like, he's looked in trouble, finally brought it back in the last game, but Kelazhur just has looked incredible the entire year.
That's the thing is we still don't really talk about him all that much. Kelazhur's the player that's just, we don't mention him, and then it's like, oh yeah, top 8, top 4, okay. Yeah, he just took out one of the tournament favorites. Kelazhur's like, guys, I'm still here. I haven't won, but I'm here. And we're seeing it so far in this series, but he will need to win another game to close this out if he wants to move forward and get some more of that cash money here in Canada. We're loaded in to Abyssal Reef for game number 4, spawning in the top left position as the blue Protoss player. Clap your hands for ShoWTimE. And his opponent in the bottom right is both of them sending out very early workers. The red Terran player from Brazil, he is Kelazhur.
I don't know what yet, Nathanias, but something's happening here. We're gonna get a first proxy barracks. ShoWTimE's going all the way around with his probes.
Talk
actually,
about a hell
odd.
of a game to go for this fast of a probe out on the map, but is it just for the proxy, Todd? Imagine if you went into his main base, like, oh my God, I know exactly what's happening here.
Oh
it's gonna
my
be
God.
Cheese versus cheese. Welcome to another episode of Will Cheese Fail, ladies and gentlemen. Whose proxy will be stronger on Abyssal Reef?
This is madness here. Both players putting it all on the line here. ShoWTimE, remember, one map away here from elimination. This is a global finals run here that he's having, and he's gonna choose to go for an additional proxy gateway here against a Kelazhur who's known for his Reapers, but mostly against Zergs.
Is this just like a 3-gate warp gate rush? Like, is it just like a 4-gate? What is the plan?
So, like,
where does this go is what I'm so very interested to know.
It might be like some sort of pylon rush with an adept being made at the front gate.
Wow.
I mean, it depends on the wall that he sees. Now he sees that there's not even a wall. ShoWTimE either just actually changed his plan a little bit.
He begins the signature probe harass, and he's like, oh my god, you actually don't have anything in your main base.
He can keep his probe inside of Kelazhur's main base forever, because there's not going to be anything there to attack it for a long time. So he could actually pylon up there, send the Mothership Core, like attack something, like the wall from inside.
This is like one of those ladder nightmares episodes where they just build 4 pylons in your base. It's like, you can use all your SCVs to try and kill these before the Mothership Core arrives. Or
that didn't attack. He actually moved out a little bit too early.
Gets dancing around that Zealot. You have to be careful. Of course, the Zealot shouldn't be able to catch the Reaper. The probes will try to use their positioning to grab him, but you want to focus fire down those probes before the Adept shows up. It is important to mention that the Mothership Core is not being built. He's using the forward gateway to produce a Stalker. It's going to be all about DAP pressure.
And the Cyclone starts back at home for Kelazhur to try and make himself safe from any attacks. Just targets started from ShoWTimE in the barracks. He's gonna block the natural base here of ShoWTimE.
Yeah, the QXC block, man, is like, there's my proxy racks, use it to build my factory, but I'm still gonna use this to block your base. Now the Stalker comes in, it's like, well, what can you build from here?
Kelazhur right now is like, come on in, please, come on in. So that Cyclone can come out and kill your Stalker.
Water's fine. It's nice. But he's gonna build a Stargate too, so we'll have to see where exactly he goes with that.
What's ShoWTimE meant to do? If he attacks, I feel like it doesn't work, and he can't expand on his natural. There's the barracks there. He needs to push that away, maybe get a Nexus elsewhere. Kelazhur very easily could expand here very soon.
It's very,
in a great position.
Awkward. If the Cyclone can bully him far enough away from this base, and the 2 Stalkers aren't able to neutralize him, preventing him from being able to use Warp Gate there will be huge, as that barracks will take fight some time to kill. I love the SCV here to help repair.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not gonna just nibble away at the Cyclone.
This is sick, yeah.
I'm gonna shut it down. Is the probe still out on the map? Can he build another pylon there? Is that an option? Yes, okay. He could, but it looks like it's just gonna go home.
At ShoWTimE, he's got every...
well, this game's weird, Todd.
Every intention to start a Nexus here on his natural momentarily. The barracks actually, that's great that he flies that, because Kelazhur needs to know the tech of ShoWTimE, and he's most certainly gonna spot that Stargate here.
Imagine
Doesn't quite see the Oracle.
No.
But
you know what he is going to see.
He will know immediately that there's maybe an Oracle on the way, so he can get ready with the Cyclone. And I think he made a Widowmine, or at least he's making one now, to try and make sure he's fully ready against that.
As a Terran, you'd be a fool not to. Of course, the 2 Cyclones can use their... well, no. They're going to try to defend against the Stalkers. They're not going to be quite as effective against the Oracle in this defense. If he sent the Cyclones into his main base, this forward push could actually get a little bit dicey.
Where's the Widowmine?
Oh, we don't know.
Oh, it's not there.
It's out front.
Oh my God. All right, that went south so bad.
No bueno here, as the 2 Cyclones are going to come back, but I was going to say they're going to use their pea shooters against this Oracle. It should be able to get away. Unless he drops... Nope. He's going to be able to get out of there.
Yeah, so quite a few SCVs died. I liked Kelazhur's position in this game up until these points here.
He still doesn't have a Mothership Core. He is going into Phoenix. The Liberator's coming. Do it. Just do it.
If the blocking barracks on the natural was the QXC barracks, what barracks is this?
I don't know.
That's
Random
not a
weird
barrack.
ladder guy who's like, I'll build Marines inside your base, so you have to do something. But the Liberator's actually going to get a couple of probe kills here. If he waits long enough, that Zealot might have to run back through there too. Who knows?
Oh my God, that guy. 5 probes all by himself.
Not bad.
Barracks forced some units back here to get rid of this, and Kelazhur brings back the walker count to 24 against 29. He's about to finish his second orbital, with which he's going to be able to easily expand. That Widowmine is
there we go.
All over the place.
Random mines. The more, the merrier. All over the map. It doesn't need to be anywhere important. It just needs to be somewhere you might go by.
And eBay finally on the way here for Kelazhur. You're going to want to get some turrets here against this.
All right, let's see it. Anybody, any takers on random
my God.
mine number 1? We have a winner. Okay, so that Phoenix is going to get roughed up a little bit. Is he going to drop the Revelation? Does he want to use the energy to attack?
Yeah.
He's got enough energy on the Oracles to drop it and still fight, so. This really isn't a lot. I mean, he could lift the Cyclones easily, and then the Oracles can kill the Marines. There's not even.
Yeah, Kelazhur might have to pull SCVs, but they die very quick against this many Adepts here. ShoWTimE looking to try and even the scoreboard. He's going to go for a huge attack.
This is a really scary attack to have to deal with. The Cyclones provide a lot of firepower, but those might be the big targets for the Phoenix. He's going to move in on this fight. There's the lift up on the Cyclones. The Oracles picking off the Marines. The Adepts and Stalkers are still doing their thing. The Cyclones don't die, but he has enough energy to do a second set of lift ups. The Stalkers can begin to shoot into the sky, and ShoWTimE is looking for that tie in this match as he cleans house on the natural expansion. There's just another Widowmine moving up towards the top of the ramp. He can sacrifice one unit if he wants. That mine slams into a Phoenix, so he's not losing the important units. He will take some damage, quite a bit on those Adapts, but there's nothing else here to fight. Stim's done. He's got how many Marines to fight with Stim? 4. It's
ShoWTimE might
tough
be feeling,
ask.
He might be feeling a bit of pressure here because he's missed rallying a couple probes across the map. This is very unusual. Like, goes one out for a pylon.
It feels like nerves might be coming into play a little bit here then, Todd. Trying not to lose his cool. Uh-oh. Goodbye, Oracle.
Wow. That was such a sick attack, though, at the exact right time, and I think that ShoWTimE's still in a great position. Forge and Twilight Council behind this on the way. Definitely will want to add some observers, and here's the Robo.
Something to always can turn the tides of these games so fast is as nice as this like Phoenix aggression can be, the speed of the Oracle, those Widow Mines. You do not have that consistent detection to deal with them. They can become that thing that pushes you back at the end of the day because you just can't clean them up efficiently. Does grab that Liberator that's trying to leave the base. I mean, let's
be clear on one thing here.
ShoWTimE is in a really good spot.
There's only 2 Raxes, man.
Yeah.
Only 2 Raxes in the main of Kelazhur. It's supposed to be 3 at the stage.
Doesn't even have a reactor.
But the third one was across the map, and then
Starport.
it got killed eventually, so...
Barracks. He's actually just hoping. I mean, he's just like, this is like a Roddy bet. He's like, all right, please, Phoenix, do not be flying where my medevac's gonna go. Please let me just go hit the jackpot.
That is the best comparison.
On this mineral line. I know there's Phoenix there. There's nothing I can do about it. But if I don't hit this 80-yard touchdown pass, I'm going to die a horrible, painful death.
5 more gateways for ShoWTimE here. I think who has full intentions to do a big attack here eventually when he has observers and when he starts getting enough depths here to go for the actual attack. And Kelazhur is going to be in so much trouble when that actually happens just because his production is so low in comparison. He's trying to replenish his SCV count. Still no sign of a third base for the Terran.
This is it. That ball's going to be going through very quickly. 4 Widow Mines in a dream for Kelazhur. He's still taking some harass. The Phoenix come in. They've got a good amount of energy to pick off SCVs, putting together these barracks, grab a couple of Marines here and there if possible. This is it. Mothership Core is by this base. He can overcharge. 2 mines, gonna burrow. The probe's immediately on the run. 3, okay, actually drops all the mines here, and he's gonna get 1 probe for his trouble. 2.
Okay, Cannon did start here to try and detect here these Widow Mines. Okay, well, that was ShoWTimE.
Not enough health. 1 taps there. And ShoWTimE's like, okay, I can actually wait this out. I don't need to rush to bring my probes back. Just clean these mines up. I'm still very far ahead. The only thing this does for Kelazhur at the end of the day is it buys him a little bit of time because the Phoenix went home. Which means this Liberator can't do anything because he's got to wait for the Phoenix to
ShoWTimE being saturated on 3 bases for so long here is a real disaster for Kelazhur. Like I said, I really think that if ShoWTimE went for mass adepts and then eventually went for an attack with like an observer and maybe a good revelation, it would be the end. He might choose to take his time, to be honest. Like, remember, this is a very important game. He has so much on the line with the global finals potentially for ShoWTimE.
Yes.
If he can win the whole tournament.
He needs this. This is extremely important for him. This Warp Prism is going to walk smack dab into a Viking and a bunch of Marines. So there's 1 in the bucket. Kelazhur, he's going to need a few more of those to bring this game back to even. He's still buried pretty far down. It's very difficult for him to leave his base without being spotted, without being tagged. And that huge economic lead that ShoWTimE has is so nice because the way that this early aggression started out, and he's going to deny this SCV building this, of course. The way this early aggression started out, Todd, the main bases are going to mine out in a relative sense faster than they normally would when you're taking your third. Because this wasn't like they took their thirds at normal times. It was this very scrappy start. They've been mining for a while.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it was like 24 to 22 workers in the start. So
yeah, I guess he can't mine out if he lost all his workers. That is a good point. This 1 Liberator is going to be able to get some work done, though. He needs something. He needs these little victories here and there.
Kelazhur is so good at sending that across the map, kind of, stealth, going around everything, the potential pylons, observers that could be there.
Tactical espionage action, Todd. This Liberator sneaking in. Being a
Some
new
CIA liberator right there.
But look at this. That army, it's like your army versus the one she told you not to worry about. This is coming over towards the third base. Not everything is here. Stim is good, but
The rest of the army of Kelazhur is looking pretty big, though. It doesn't have that many medivacs, but the bio.
and the Phoenix have been forced to come back and still deal with this. So those Widow Mines actually get quite a few more pot shots. Actually, ShoWTimE just kind of took maybe stepped a little bit too far forward there.
Yeah. Double
I
Colossus
still like the
production
money
with-
situation for him, but he's hemorrhaging this lead quite a bit now.
Yeah, double Colossus production against no second starport and a Terran that's kind of forced on going into medivacs right now because he doesn't have that many. He's a great position for ShoWTimE. A lot of the time, like I said, like you need to go for these attacks eventually. So far, he's been shut down because ShoWTimE, he kept on losing his prism across the map, like some stuff kept happening to him. But at this stage, when he reaches 4 to 6 Colossi, if ShoWTimE goes for the attack, this is not supposed to be one that Kelazhur could hold on against. But the big problem has been these counter medivac drops, which ShoWTimE is really accounting for by leaving some of his Phoenixes here on the side of the map.
Yeah, and the other huge thing to keep in mind is these Widow Mines that he's mixed in very heavily to his army are actually contributing significantly to his defenses. So the War Prism spots the drop, he unloads to try and snag that, but the Adepts still make their way to the third base, which is just now turning into an orbital. Those 4 Widow Mines probably just blew up a lot, it looks like. Some dead Stalker bodies there. Shells.
Empty
Phoenix
shells.
are all at the top too, so he doesn't want to fly over there anymore. And he does get tagged
Yeah.
Revelation, Terran's worst nightmare.
Yeah, ShoWTimE definitely shouldn't get overeager. You don't want to attack just before your thermal lance finishes. And also economically, he's doing great. Could easily take a 5th base, go into Morgas. Dark Shrine now going to start as well as Templar Archives. He's adding every single topping right now to his...
I think about the way that the last game went without Kelazhur being put far behind at the start, and I say ShoWTimE is still with this lead following through the same as he did on Odyssey, and I like that a lot because I mean he took the win there, but he's got the lead and he's doing the same thing again. Like he just needs to not overextend in any crazy way like he did on Acolyte with the 5 units that he had to his name. But that Adept spots these drops, the Phoenix will go straight for it.
Oh, that's the big catch here. Far away from the base of ShoWTimE as well, so that's going to prevent the drop in the first place.
And now the Colossi army is going to push towards this third. Kelazhur's like, uh-oh, my army's in the middle of the map. Is he going to try to base trade? I mean, the Dark Shrine's almost done, which will make this a nightmare for him.
If ShoWTimE kills the orbitals here, there is overcharges available as well, I believe, here, which is a disaster for Kelazhur. It's going to be so hard for him to deal with this.
1 orbital down.
2
Dark
to go.
Shrine is done. And 2 disruptors are being produced at a time. The possibility of getting that damage in there is huge. More and more Adepts are being warped in. He's at this 4th base. We'll have to see if the DTs come into play anytime soon, but ShoWTimE's got to be a little bit careful. He's going to lose a lot of his probes running away here.
I think he forgot Dark Shrine finished, because he could warp in some DTs now. Maybe he's waiting until he gets the other
There we go. There's
orbitals.
1 coming in. He's going to overcharge these pylons. There's the first DT. Hacking and slashing at this army. The natural was removed from play as well. So is it just that 1 orbital then inside of the main base? He doesn't have a lot to work with here in terms of detection.
Yeah. Kelazhur is actually not too far behind on the army supply. It's 81 to 91, and he's preserving his main base for the most part thanks to these liberators being set up on that ramp.
Those liberators on the ramp are holding the door quite nicely. The disruptors, though, he steps forward. It's going to almost chunk out the army, but he clears them out. He clears out the DTs and the scan. He can still see the one that's being warped in. He gets it before it finishes. He's so limited on those scans.
And
He needs
ShoWTimE's
to go
walking back.
And he's in the base. He's killing the natural expansion. ShoWTimE doesn't have any other income outside of this base himself.
Oh my god, what is going on in this game? ShoWTimE.
Another DT's warped in. I don't believe he has another scan available, but this army can run. He's going to lift off. He's going to move away. A stasis ward is being made somewhere. Perhaps he's anticipating a drop or being able to box him into a position. But, wow. Okay, this game got crazy.
Yeah, ShoWTimE needs to make sure he doesn't lose his
the
observers, because there is quite a few Widow Mines here. Stalker's
Phoenix,
chasing on those
Stalkers.
medivacs. The Phoenix are going to synergize with them. He can chase all the way.
Oh, God. Unless he's got... There's no other mines burrowed on the right side of this map. He has to unload and take this fight with his Marines and Marauders as the Phoenix continue to pick away at the meat of his army. And he just does not have enough gas in the tank to actually kill whatever ShoWTimE has. I don't know what he does from here. He moves down to his natural with the liftoff of his main orbital. But... ShoWTimE's still got a pretty beefy army.
Yeah,
he's got his power units.
ShoWTimE has enough minerals now to restart that Nexus.
Oh, this could be good.
Oh, the DT!
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Casualties of war.
It's a pretty good pickup. Uh-oh, there go your sentries too, brah. Potentially.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
wow, that shoots actually. That was dead. How did that shoot?
From downtown, Todd.
From downtown in hell.
And this martyrdom perk there.
All right, let's look at armies here. We've got 4 Colossi against 4 Liberators, 5 Marauders, 8 Marines, 5 Stalkers, but most of all 4 Phoenixes. If there wasn't that much anti-air, maybe Kelazhur could have gotten rid of the anti-air in the Stalkers and Phoenixes and then won with the Liberators, but
I think it's important to keep in mind too, though, that as ShoWTimE gets a little bit more money going, like he's rebuilding these 2 bases, he still has the Dark Shrine, and there's still just 1 orbital command on the map.
yeah, the income right now is the saddest thing for both players. It's 600 for both players around.
Kelazhur can't mule. He has to play the game the same as everybody else now. Very painful income.
Kelazhur does have a good amount of gas saved up though, so he's not going to need to mine that for some time, but eventually he should have to, and ShoWTimE's playing this perfectly, by the way. Retaking 2 Nexuses on the basis where there's the most minerals. He didn't actually remake the one on the natural.
Yeah, no point in taking that one back.
Well,
I mean, it can help, but
some people will do it.
you got to risk it all if you want to win big. Or
You've been listening to
Colossi.
Roddy a little bit too much.
You know, it's been a while since I've seen him. It's nice. This Liberator's going to siege up on the base that isn't mining yet.
Yeah, this is unit
tough
stats.
to finish.
Kelazhur can't afford to lose, but he's trying to force a mistake out of ShoWTimE. Like
This
maybe
is it.
attacking really poorly into
Another
the Liberators.
DT. He gets a scan out of him again for another DT, and there's another one here. There is actually a missile turret in this base, but there's no units nearby. So what is crippled
Oh my God.
economy gets crippled even more.
There's nothing against these Colossi.
Yeah, the Liberators need to come over here very badly.
See, this is what I was talking about. ShoWTimE always uses the mobility of his army so well against Liberators. In this case, those need to deal with that one on this side of the map. Phoenixes are going to be sent back just
go
for
back
that.
and grab it. And I love this, 1 DT at a time. He's like, you don't have bases, dude. You don't have scans. He did build a turret up front, very smart. But he's going to get pushed in again. These Colossi using that range with the Stalker support. He's like, oh, your Liberator looks a bit hurt there, buddy. Let me help you out. And the DT goes back into the natural, killing those SUVs. Kelazhur is down to 6 workers. Not a lot of money being made. He doesn't have anything that he can use to kill the Colossi. He knocks down the missile turret. He knocks down the 3rd base that he was trying to retake so desperately. And ShoWTimE rears his arm back with the hammer, ready to drop it on Kelazhur, smashing into the natural as he sends his last few units straight into those Phoenix. And I don't think there's going to be anything else that he can do. ShoWTimE is off the back of this Will Cheese Fails game. I believe ShoWTimE is the victor with this final push. GG! We're going to game number 5. Very intense back and forth series we've had so far here, Todd. Proxies on both sides, mega aggression, tons of SCVs dying, tons of probes dying, but ShoWTimE, off the back of the lead he had in that game, he was able to put together an army that, although this army supply was very close, his army was made of units that definitely survived that situation better. Having the Phoenix, the Colossi, there weren't a lot of Liberators to lean back on for Kelazhur, and he didn't have that backbone. The only Liberators he was able to use were to defend his base, barely. MVP of this series so far probably goes to Widow Mines, I would say. They've had a huge impact on these games. He was able to use those very well to survive. But ShoWTimE has regained his composure, so to speak, as we've made it past that very rough 0-2 start. And In Control, I believe, on the desk also said that. He's like, no, he's totally done, right? Yeah, there you go. In Control, just wrong analysis again for all you people on Reddit and Twitch chat that hate him.
Poor Jeff. He's just trying to present, you know, one extreme end of the prediction spectrum or his opinion. But yeah, ShoWTimE, I knew he could play better than what he did in the first 2 games. Not taking any credit away from Kelazhur, but I really feel like ShoWTimE could do better than this. And now he's finally starting to come into full motion here in this series with some great defense, some great counter-aggression, and some good management overall all over the place with everything.
And I like this choice a lot better. We look at who came in to bring the analysis to Kelazhur earlier. It was No Regret after he got that lead. Kelazhur drops 2 maps. Like, you know what? No Regret's not the guy I want my advice from. Let's talk to you, Thermal, someone that's a little bit better at Terran as he gets ready for this final map, Interloper. I mean, it's the map of choke points. There are so many tight, narrow, dark alleyways you do not want to walk down in the dead of night, and you have to be very careful as well.
Yeah, we don't want to run into a widow mine. In one of those dark streets.
It's good for mines. It's good for those colossi that ShoWTimE's been leaning on too. And you have to be on top of everything. Good counterattack paths.
Yeah. With everything on the line, do we see another proxy here, though? That's the big question, because both of these guys have been playing very aggressive, so it might be a time for a full standard game. I like those in this game.
I really enjoy being wrong all the time. It makes me feel good. But so I'm going to say that I want this to be a straight-up macro game. I'm feeling it to a degree, but it is a very small map. And with that, I mean, I'm expecting Widow Mines for sure. Whatever it is, if it's a proxy from Kelazhur, it'd be something mine-related. Like it could go Cyclones, but I'm just gonna say no.
By the way, shout out to Observer, who's been putting in some sick work here this series. Like I have
There
a hard
has
time.
been a lot to follow.
Yeah, I have a hard time following all the action, but he's definitely done a good job of that. Here we go, guys. Game number 5 is on the way.
We're loaded into Interloper. This man's come back from the dead in the top left, needing that victory here to get to BlizzCon. He is ShoWTimE. It's nice to see such a packed crowd of passionate StarCraft fans, Todd. This has been a hell of a series to watch and cast. In the bottom right, as the Red Terran player, the round of 8-man this year, he is Kelazhur.
Probe was sent out pretty early, but this could just be for a scout, you know, just after the gateway. That still would be very standard here to try and see what the Terran's opening with.
Sensible enough. We've seen his probe harass at the start of the game. Very good, so
especially
why not?
Against a Terran like Kelazhur, who proxies quite a bit. I think it's very important to make sure that you go for that scout. You know, we saw earlier, actually, I think it was in Seoul against Nib, you know, Seoul not scouting at all in the one game that Nib was going for a quick Dark Shrine and paying the price for it with some hack and sliced SCVs on the side of the map.
Oh yeah, and there that probe comes. Very annoying. My blood pressure rises as the SCV's health hits that red health bar area, but he comes to save it a little bit faster this time. There's the Nexus being dropped, and it's gonna be that one Marine. He's not going for the Reaper opening, so it's probably gonna be what, that Marine into Reactor, but I don't think he's gonna do the same follow-up on Acolyte, which was 3 command centers. On Interloper, that's a bit risky. You have a very open low ground.
I think the probe spotted that SCV going across the map, so I don't think there will be a proxy starport like we saw earlier, but you never know. I do think that Kelazhur will just want to scout. And actually, that probe gets away here. This can be a big deal. So maybe you can go for like something like a follow-up scout. Another pylon actually already going down at natural here to make sure you can defend against any kind of attack. Maybe ShoWTimE suspecting some sort of aggression here eventually. It's a bit weird. Like usually second pylon, you know, would be around your second gas.
That, it's not a wall, just in case any of you guys were wondering. Don't go copy that one, especially versus Zerg. You will regret it. Factory starting up as the reactor finishes. If he was going to have to worry about oracles, well, he doesn't. So he doesn't need to go for the double Marine. He will. He did have that SCV out earlier, though, so he's seen enough. He doesn't want to go for the Reaper.
Where did he position like this?
Later, though. What's up?
Where's the reactor and depot like this?
He was just going too fast. Sometimes you gotta slow down, actually look at the build grid. Kelazhur's like, no man, I'm on fire. He just pressed that hotkey for the reactor. He clicked in the first place where it worked, and he's like, it was already building. He's like, oh, I don't want to cancel that. So there you go. It happens.
Just gotta own it, man.
You just gotta
Pretend it was on purpose.
Yeah.
I guess there's the wall. There's the wall of depot around the natural that comes into play later, and like you said, it's not against Zerg.
He's actually playing 4D intergalactic dimensional chess where he's hoping the Adept shades through because it's not a complete wall, because his next Widow Mine will be just far enough that if he shades from outside the
like
natural,
a slingshot.
It finishes right on it, exactly. Yeah.
All right, double Cyclone production now begins for Kelazhur. Perhaps thinking about some sort of aggression, because, I mean, defensively, you could just get Widow Mines and still be fine, right? But in this case, if you go into a lot of Marine Cyclones and then Medivacs, there's a lot of strong pushes that you can go. He's going to fix that wall.
There's huge potential for counterattacks if you can set up a decent defense against the first Oracle, where those Cyclones pushing across the map, especially if you follow up. And this is really nice, too, getting the Adepts with these Marines.
He's going to get it.
Getting both of these, because those Cyclones can blow the doors down.
And that one's going to take a lot of damage.
Usually very heavily delayed by the Oracles.
And now ShoWTimE sees this coming. He's already got 2 additional gateways on the way. I think Kelazhur was probably hoping ShoWTimE was going for a third Nexus, but he's not. He's going for more gateways. So he should be able to get enough.
The Mothership Core will come out. He'll be able to drop a Photon Overcharge, but if those Cyclones get to work on the pylon and it ends up being charged, he'll be able to deal with it. The Oracle comes into the natural. The Widow Mines are not positioned there. He's getting the Viking. Widow Mine's going to be parked on the mineral line. Well, actually, one on the ramp, and I believe the other one made it to the mineral line.
It should be.
Meanwhile, Kelazhur has been pushed back, but the Widow Mine gets him on the ramp. So that Oracle is knocked down. He's just going to build more mines. I love it. He's waiting for Photon Overcharge to run out because the Mothership Core was only just built. He has to defend with his newest Oracle and just a handful of Stalkers and a Zealot. Not exactly your ideal army for fighting Cyclones. Kelazhur's going to go home.
Kelazhur realized there was no third base as well, so he's like, well, I'm not going to attack
you don't
two
need to
bases.
commit.
You probably have enough to kill that army. I might want to preserve that.
I like the idea behind it a lot, though, because if the Protoss, as many are wont to do, take that third as soon as that Oracle's coming out, that Cyclone goes across the map, it's like, boom, your third base is dead. You also don't have a Mothership Core, so maybe I get some damage on your natural, too. But yeah, let's see what these Oracles can get done. The random Marine that just went first roll sees both of them. It's like, okay, across the map. The other Marine that's probably going to the third base sees it. And here comes that big shot of 4 Widow Mines in that medevac. The Phoenix count's not that high yet. He should be able to get in. The question will come down to reaction time on the
I mean,
core.
if you rally that properly behind the minerals on the natural, only one of the pylons can shoot, and then it's not enough to get rid of that many Widow Mines burrowing there. So then, obviously, ShoWTimE would have to send back his Oracle, detect as much as possible, maybe demine the field in the first place with some of his probes. So it will do damage no matter what here if it's executed properly.
He's flying in a pretty dangerous path. A couple of these pylons could shoot at once, but he's not reacting quickly enough. All 4 mines brought out 9, 13, 14 probes obliterated. And there's the overcharge. A little bit too late there. Phoenix are going to come back. 1 mine's able to burrow, and the 4th one is going to be able to burrow. Okay, he gets that one. He gets something, but ooh, okay.
It's going to be super annoying to demine now because some of these mines are split. Those are in the natural. He needs to get rid of those right now. Actually, they're about to reload. And there's one on the high grounds.
Revelation covers a large area, but he's not. I think that at least for him, that mine that's in the main base. Okay, he hits it with the Mothership Core. I was going to say he shouldn't really be able to get too many probes. I don't know if it can hit the mineral line from there. Maybe barely. On the top patch. No. You can't get anything with that. No workers. Thank you, Observer. Thank you.
Looking far away.
As a Terran player, there's nothing you dream of more than blowing up probes.
Where is advanced ballistics for Widow Mines when you need it?
Dude, that's such a great idea. Get that in the test map. You know what I'm saying? Resonating Glaives, +1 attack. These are things we've seen before. Very good setup for dancing around, moving quickly. And the Liberator, the random Liberator as well, is just like, yo, man, you got Phoenix. I don't care. Just going to come siege up on you, bro. No big deal.
Yeah, the Phoenixes, they're not often, around the main base necessarily. They're more looking for medivacs on the map, sometimes looking to try and be aggressive. That can prevent some mining time. And it's a very inexpensive loss here for Kelazhur, who, behind this can very easily go into a third base, produce more of these guys, and then go for a main and major attack.
Ooh. That one Marine trapped in time.
Hey, we're getting the standard game, by the way, we talked about.
The thing, though, that we're about to see as this army kind of moves around that I find so scary is force fields are very strong because the only ways into these bases are these very tight chokes. Look at that Marine. Oh, my God. Everyone's just, like, ganged up on him. The natural's kind of exposed, though. He doesn't see this just yet, but he knocked down the rocks, so it doesn't matter. There you go.
Wrong way, Phoenix.
A lot of choke points. Like, by the time you kill those rocks, I don't know, being game 6, I guess. And take him a little while. The army is ready to go. He's got plenty of defense positioned here.
Yeah.
And if you try to step through that, you're not going home.
Having glaives here is so huge because adepts are very easy to produce. You can amass them very, very quickly, and they synergize very well with the Stargate units that you're going to be making. Actually, these air units of ShoWTimE are really fishing for some action out on the map.
Yep, I'd love to see more Widow Mines. Just put in every one of these little choke points, put them all over. This is the map where there's so many paths that it doesn't just hurt you when you're like worried about flanks, but it also benefits you when you're trying to catch the enemy moving around this big old field. And look at this Phoenix just snap up a medevac there using Revelation. He's like, yeah, there's nothing by it. Okay, yeah, I'll take it. Why not?
ShoWTimE on his side of the map. I wouldn't be surprised if he was to go into Colossus here. This is kind of like become the standard, when you open Stargate and then go into Glaives and Stalkers with Blink. You had these Colossi, or even Disruptors, with which he had some sick shots in some of the previous games.
It worked very well last game. I've been loving the Colossus play. It's definitely done right for him. These Phoenix clean up the Viking. It's like, okay, there's your anti-Oracle Viking. That did you a lot. +1's done. He's going to go for the armor. +1 armor is now finishing ShoWTimE. He's getting his blink. And there's that transition. Second robotics facility and a robo bay. He's getting ready to move. These oracles are like, I just want to tag those medevacs. Where are you going? Where are you going, boy? But they did evade. They did evade the revelation. At least the big drop did. Let's see where he goes with those. I think they're flying over the third base now.
Second forge on the way here for ShoWTimE to work on his upgrades consistently. Again, he gets the prism before finishing the robo bay so that he can have that across the map threaten. Remember what did so well for him on Odyssey before. It was those adepts across the map killing SCVs left and right.
This next moment is so key, though, because these avoided the revelation. This shows you how heavy that Protoss reliance is on it. He's out on the map because of it. Now he could move to the fourth, and this big drop, he could shut down the robotics bay, he could take out the workers, the pylons, he could get this robotics facility, and really slam that tech down a fair bit as these rest of these units rush over to help. He gets the mothership core, he's gonna pick up one of these pylons. He had unpowered the south robotics facility. He's gonna load up and run away. ShoWTimE killed his own photon cannon. I got nothing else. Okay, the rest of the army shows up at the north side, takes out the pylon, reinforcements to SmackDown. Don't worry, though. We've got workers dying in Kelazhur's side of the map, too. The third base has been cleaned out.
He evacuated, actually, for the most part. He only lost 9 SCVs in that one, so those adepts, if they can shade, I don't think they're going to be able to. They're going to die just before that. Kelazhur
and
with some very important damage right there.
Those Widow Mines still doing a tremendous amount of damage. It's like the Terran versus Protoss match where observers were just like, the observers didn't show up. He didn't put him in his loadout. The Oracle gets the revelation on one of them, misses the south one.
You know, I was going to say, ShoWTimE actually is doing a great job with his lack of vision on the left-hand side of the map. Yeah. And then as I was going to say that, I didn't.
But he was relying on revelation.
Yeah.
It's such a weird moment where like those medevacs boosted away from the Oracles at the natural expansion earlier on, and that one move set up everything that just happened, because if he sees the whole army, he's like, okay, well, yeah, I can have them all work together. I can catch you at the choke point, but he's made great play. And we finally have him get advanced ballistics for those liberators. With the choke points on this map, that also strongly benefits the siege units.
Ooh, I think this was spotted here. ShoWTimE needs to be careful. All of these drops can be very dangerous ones. Actually, for ShoWTimE, it's very good that he didn't lose the robo bay and the robos.
Try there.
He actually catches that.
If he tried for the main base,
well,
the disruptors actually, he spreads out well enough just with the way that he drops, but the disruptors are down here, which could clean out a lot of this. He has some forces also dragging on the south side. This Widow Mine's able to burrow straight underneath the army, gets quite a bit of splash damage done too. He's taking a lot of damage. 10 probes killed in the midst of all of this. Even the Oracle's having to come out and fight.
Yeah, ShoWTimE struggling to clean this up here. He's taking a huge supply deficit in this fight and struggling to clean up all of those Widow Mines. I think he was kind of chasing the army at the bottom left-hand side, but eventually that got away here from Kelazhur.
Observers, where are they at? All right, War Prism gets inside the main base. He's going to bring a couple of adepts there. And oh my God, Todd, no. Oh goodness. Bye-bye.
No.
Oh no, there goes Holy Phoenix with these Oracles. Gets a couple of probes too, cleans out only a handful of SCVs in the main base, as it is mostly mined out, and these Liberators, they don't do a whole lot of damage versus armored, but when you got this many, you can make it happen.
ShoWTimE as a single observer, and it's around his natural right now, trying to spot what units will come through there, but they're going to actually fly on the left-hand side of his natural base.
A long shot from that missile turret, and the drop hits the natural. ShoWTimE beginning to crumble under the pressure of Kelazhur's relentless non-stop attacks. The Widow Mines are still inside of his third base. He shuts down the robotics facilities once again, and GG's call. Kelazhur advances forward once again. A hearty cheer for a hard-fought victory, Todd. Amazing gameplay being brought here by the Brazilian Terran player.
Stayed patient throughout and composed in a game number 5 after all the momentum shift here. With ShoWTimE playing some fantastic StarCraft, Kelazhur stayed in it. And he advances on here to the round of 8 after some very impressive series.
An amazing match on both sides. Kelazhur going to shake the hand of his opponent, who clawed his way back from that 0-2 deficit and gave one hell of a final fight on Interloper, but it is the Brazilian Terran moving forward. We are going to hear from him now. He is on the main stage with Mal.
Don't bite. Congratulations, finally. We saw one Terran advance on the main stage.
No words for me right now.
So first two game, it was you actually made it look like you were gonna dominate him, but then again there were great counters from ShoWTimE from game 3, 4, and then the last one was just absolutely brilliant with the drops, the harassments, and the multi-prongs. It was brilliant.
Yeah. After the first two games, I was very careful to not be too overconfident because I know how strong Tobias is as a player, and I could easily lose 3-2 from a 2-0. Like he's that strong. So I try to get some easy wins with some cheeky strategies, but he was too prepared for them.
Yeah, he was very prepared, and as the known god of the macro and Protoss from Germany, whatever, all the titles, you know, he looked like there were a lot of times where you were falling apart. And I just want to know, like, what's your strategy in this series moving forward? As in, like, are you going to be macros? Because this series was going to be it was very different. I'm not so sure if it's going to be continuing on like this, or do you have strategies prepared for the series afterwards?
So I'm not sure what comes next. I've been playing very different styles, so I feel like right now I'm a very diverse player, and I'm pretty confident with it.
Yeah, the reason why I ask is you're the last standing Terran in this final weekend of the WCS Circuit. So last words to all the Terrans out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to represent the Terrans. And if I may, I would like to give a word to the people of Montreal.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so this has been a great year for me so far, my best one in my entire career. And last year I was here in DreamHack Montreal, and I remember practicing so hard, like maybe 60, 70 games a day, because I really wanted to do well in my last tournament. I wanted to advance from the round of 32. And unfortunately, I lost to Violet in the first round. It was very heartbreaking for me, but I was kind of like weeping a little bit, leaving the stage, and everyone just started chanting my name, and I was so moved that I couldn't, like, I had to turn my face away because I started crying, so. Yeah, thanks, man.
But you are making 2017 very different scene here at Montreal. Congratulations in your victory and advancement to the next round. Attaboy! T, let's go!
Kelazhur with some emotional words there as he's able to make it to the round of 8 once again here in the WCS Circuit for 2017. And oh boy, does he deserve it after that victory. It was a close one down to the wire in the very end there, Jeff. But yeah, Kelazhur shows his class once again.
It's just Diego and me against the world, man. Like, going into it, I knew he had a chance. I knew he could do it.
Yeah.
And no, everyone was doubting us. They're like, Jeff, you're crazy. And I was like, no, man, I believe in this Brazilian Terran who would come back to Montreal and he wouldn't turn his face. Not this time.
Not this time.
This time he would face the crowd.
Yeah, Jeff, normally you have something to say when all they say like, oh, it's nice or it feels good. You gotta love this then. Like, this was awesome. Like, this was real, it was genuine, very well deserved. Just a great series overall. Don't have much to say. Obviously, a very sad defeat for ShoWTimE since this was his last shot to make it to the global finals, where last year he did so well, not just by making it there, but even making it to the quarterfinals. Yeah, that's sad, but I mean, that's the format, right? Like, just in 2 of the 4 tournaments, it just didn't go his way at all, and the other 2, it was also not good enough. But yeah, hats off to Diego. He was fantastic.
Absolutely, and who can really argue with the top 8 that we have right now, which is 7 of the 8 players that are going to BlizzCon, unless something is disrupted here by Scarlet. So that's actually amazing to see that kind of consistency for the 7 of the 8 players that have been able to make it to this spot, Jeff.
Especially the other one we're missing, I guess?
Yes.
Yes.
That is correct.
Very good. A lot of Zergs up there. Good year for the Zergs. And just in that, you know, that too, Kevin laughs, but honestly, there's a lesson to be learned here. If you cry hard enough, if you whine publicly enough, and if you do it 8 months, 9 months in a row, you too
will get a Hydra buff.
Zergs who've been with, the Hydra buff.
A Baneling buff.
A Baneling buff. Let's throw that in there.
Infestus can burrow. Like.
Let's get those guys into the ground. I don't like that they're above ground and dying, you know? And people talk about worth ethic, but nobody talks about cry ethic. And honestly, those Zerg players, they deserve this.
Yeah.
If David Kim were here to see this today, he'd be so happy. He would.
if David Kim
Yeah.
was here today.
We
As
just
if-
saw the bracket, by the way. That also obviously means that Snoot did defeat Haas, as Snoot has completed that bracket. I must say, that series was really fun to watch, though. I mean, like,
It
with
was.
Haas, I feel it's a little hit or miss. Sometimes people are like, oh my God, did you see that game? And I just think it's like, that wasn't fun at all. You know, he just sat on 2 bases and he died. This time, he made it really close.
Yeah.
All 4 games were close and competitive. In my opinion, he should have won on Abyssal Reef, because Snoot had like 25 drones left. And even the last game, I mean, James, I showed it to you a little bit. It's Catalina. He opens up standard, 1 gate, Oracle, goes up to 3 bases at the 4-minute mark, then takes a hidden base on the top side of the map right next to Snoot. Snoot doesn't scout it for like 20 minutes. So it's a 4-base Protoss at the 5-minute mark.
Yeah.
But somehow Snoot was able to claw his way back out of it and win. But a really fun series. Good effort this time. Really good effort.
2018 will be Haas's year. Just
Hopefully.
mark our words with the oracles. Lots and lots of oracles. Our next series coming up here is going to be a quarterfinal, and it will be Neeb going up against Scarlet in just a few moments' time. We're done with the round of 16, and we're moving on to the round of 8 in just a moment. Stay tuned here for WCS Montreal as we continue things down the road.